All right, we are back. Curse of Strahd, session 10, where we last left off. And the group was at the Wizard of Wines, and they were in kind of a predicament. Gaia, their trusty paladin of light, servant of Paylord, found herself stunned and in a kind of hideous nightmare as she touched this dark, hideous staff of smoke and blackness that she kind of had this vision of a hill and a giant bloody tree, and basically her kind of having these blights that they were currently fighting, these twig-like monsters that have animated from the ground and picked up some kind of consciousness of evil intent, basically worshiping her in this nightmare. And as she snapped out of it, she tried to relay the message that she felt the staff was some way connected to these monsters. Um, with the guidance of Rion and Dirge, they sprung into action, Dirge slamming her hammer down and eventually snapping the staff and rendering the twig blights useless, destroying them all in an instant. Upon that, they kind of had a little hangout session at the Wizard of Wines, getting more kind of on a better to know basis with the Marktikovs. Davian seemed to take a liking to them and spend the evening asking them questions about their adventures and their intent in this world. Upon having a nice little play session with the kids, Dirge told the story of a hideous creature that from her land known as the Purple Worm. The kids reeled in excitement of getting to kind of hear an outsider's tale, something that they don't really get to have that often, happiness in this world. Davian decided from there that he could trust you guys, and he brought you to a secret trap door in the glass blower room as told by Madame Ava, and basically gave you this hilt of a sword that didn't really seem all that important. It was just literally a broken hilt, but handed it to Dirge. And she was overcome with this emotion of welcoming that seemed to be coming from the sword. They called it a night, and Gaia had another nightmare, and long story short, they woke up, and the baby of the Marktikov family was missing. Gaia recently having a nightmare about the hill and a baby being used as a sacrifice for some kind of gruesome ceremony. She put two and two together, and the group and the two oldest Marktikov brothers fled as quick as they could to this hill that is known as Yester Hill. The brothers transforming into ravens, actually. No one really had time to ask what that was all about, but the group finds themselves atop or at the bottom of this hill, and the entire hill is basically covered with dead grass. There's these cairns of black rocks that basically surround the entire hill at different embankments. A path runs straight up through into the middle of this hill, where this giant black stone wall seems to be kind of man-made, encasing this small circle, and then another path slowly leading up to the highest peak of this hill, where this giant dark tree, ominous looking, just sits there overlooking the entire hill. As you look to the sky, dark clouds fill the entire area. Looking behind you, it's not really the same case. It's cloudy, but this storm just seems to be centralized in this area. As you look up, a single bolt of lightning streaks through the sky, and slams into one of the rocks, just causing sparks. You hear the thunder kind of rumbling through as you get the sense that something isn't quite right here. Welcome. What do you guys
Dregar
thinking?
asks, is this what you saw, Gaia? Is this what you saw in your mind?
Gaia looking up. Is it dreary like it was? Because for the image that I'm looking at, it's like, man, this looks like a bright sunny day.
Yeah, it's much darker. Your dream is very much so like a dream, where you have bits and parts of memories, but it's quickly slipping away as time goes on, and you can barely remember. But the tree does strikingly look familiar.
She would nod to Dragar's like, that is the tree, and she would press forward to go up the hill.
Ushmark would say, "Wait, where are the Martikov brothers?" All right, I'll sort that out for you.
And when you say the brothers, I was the little. those were the ravens. Yes.
Yeah, the ravens. He says, where is
Would
Elver
Guy have
and
noted?
Adrian?
Would Guy have noted where they had flown off to, since she was technically flying with them?
They would have got ahead of you, flying a little bit quicker.
Okay.
You maybe not so used to your form,
Yeah.
but you can make a perception check.
Sure thing. Doop, 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 doop. And that's a 9. Good job, Gaia. You're focused on that tree.
Yeah, you're looking around and you don't see them, but suddenly you all hear the kind of shaking of a branch, and then the flapping of feathers, and as you all kind of turn around simultaneously, you see these ravens start to shapeshift back into humans. Awkwardly enough, though, they're butt naked now.
The Mardukov,
Adrian and Elver, and they kind of come to you shape-shifting from raven into human form, and they actually quickly walk behind a tree, not necessarily embarrassed, but quick, and pick up folded clothes deep buried within the kind of tree line, and then they start dressing themselves, and they approach you guys.
Do you normally keep folded clothes at random locations that you expect to go to?
Adrian nods. Yes, it's kind of awkward to just be walking around naked. We have outposts all across the land for this. But quick, we must go and save Yolanda. I don't want my daughter to be sacrificed to these creatures. We must go now. And he just like instantly, as he's like pulling on his shirt, he starts to run up the hill.
Dragar would be right behind him. Dragar loves children. He'd be really worried. He'd be right on top of, right behind him, right on his heels.
And as you guys kind of start to make your way up there, the lightning starts beaming through the sky even more intently. Elver would call out to you guys and say, brother, friends, shall we be so hasty? This is clearly a trap. This is clearly what they want. I know Yolanda is of the utmost, but should we just rush in there brashly?
Dragar would turn back to his. Go ahead.
Guys, just like, Ashley, we are here. We have each other to fight this evil. Even if they are laying in wait, there's however many number of us versus the few of them. The child's safety is most important. We need to act fast before something happens. I don't know how much time we have.
But how many do you actually know that's up there? How do you know that there's only, let's say, 2?
I agree with you, Gaia,
and
says Adrian. We should go immediately. I don't want Yolanda to be hurt by these creatures.
Dragar will go first. All of you should come in later and back me up. Or behind me, 10, 15 feet. Just let me take all the brunt and then come in and clear house.
So yeah, as you guys start walking up this hill, you notice that on basically different parts of the embankment, it starts to climb up rather quickly. You see trails in circular fashion start to taper off and go around the entire trail. There's these black rocks, almost like perfectly put at equal spaces away all across the hill, and these rocks are big, smooth, black rocks, roughly 10 to 15 feet tall, and they're all just like placed seemingly perfectly around the hill as you start to make your way up. Continuing forward at the basically the top of the hill. Go ahead.
Actually, can I do either a perception or investigation about these rocks?
Yeah, go ahead, Evan. Do an investigation or whatever you reason.
Well, could I maybe do a history then to see if I know what these rocks are, like if I remember or recall anything from history of these rocks being in these? Okay.
The group
not
is
like it's a
quickly
better number or anything.
Group is quickly moving forward, but yeah, absolutely, you can, in passing, try to reason what they are.
Okay.
Not so much. You get the feeling that they're for something, but you don't remember. Beyond staying back, or is he continuing up with the group? A guy is basically like, I almost imagine running for the hill at this point. Adrian.
She's huffing it, to say the least. She's really unnerved with what the possibility of what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to keep up to her, but she's too fast. I'm on her heels now.
Yeah,
It's my
I'm
dust.
going to stay somewhat back behind the group, like not necessarily be right up, probably up where Ishmir.
Okay, so as you
They just
get to
kinda do, like-
the center of the hill, there's the wide ring of black boulders, and these smaller rocks kind of collectively form to make a small wall enclosing. The field, as you look into the center of this rock enclosing, is all dead, wilted grass. Lightning once again strikes as you basically make your way up to the hill, and it hits the edge of the ring from time to time, getting more rapid in succession now. The storm seems to be picking up and getting worse.
Ooh, Gaia is excited in the sense of like lightning, bring it, and she'll when some of these lightning hits the circle, if it crackles near her, she'll just kind of I guess catch some of it, just kind of like channel the energy a little bit as she's looking about and just kind of fusing her own bit of electric energy with it. Just she's charged, I guess is the best way to describe it. So.
As you guys make your way to like the basic entrance of this, you immediately see kind of illuminated through a flash of lightning a ghastly 50-foot tall statue. At first it strikes you as probably you think maybe it's actually a person, but then as the lightning strikes and lights it up, you see that it's tightly woven twigs and packed with the black earth and roots from the ground. You see that this statue resembles a towering cloaked man, and you see these gnarled wooden fangs kind of just placed inside of its mouth. Before you actually even get into the circle, you would see that there is 6 druids all basically in front of that towering statue, and they are almost ceremoniously dancing around in circles, one in the middle laying down on its knees. It seems to be cradling something, and you guys aren't quite in the circle yet, so it's rather big. This map doesn't really show it, but it's roughly 50 feet a square. So this is actually a pretty massive area that you're on top of, and inside of it you see these druids dancing around. They haven't become aware of you yet, and they're saying something, chanting. You can't necessarily hear.
Well, seeing these druids and recalling such creatures in the vision, and Gaia, sword drawn, is just marching towards them. Hang on, I have a very important speech to give. But I said, sword drawn is just like, there's a child, and saying this in Druidic, just great mouths and trying to be authoritative.
Drag her right beside her. Just quiet, but supporting everything she's saying.
And as you guys are walking up, you notice that the 2 Marktikov brothers, their form shifts once again. This time ripping their clothes. You see black feathers start to like erupt from their chest, and as their clothing starts to fray and basically give way, they turn into this hybrid form of half raven, half man. And they're like right beside you. Adrian calls out, "Where is Yolanda?" And he is right beside you. As you ask them in Druidic where the child is,
Where is the child?
you hear them chanting as you get close, not paying attention to you, whatever, but in Druidic they're chanting over and over again, "Winter Splinter! Winter Splinter! Winter Splinter!"
Is that supposed to mean something? Guy is also like, as they're dancing around, like, is there any indication of one like holding what could be a baby or small child?
Give a perception check.
Sure thing. 16.
16. So yeah, you step forward, and your foot actually kind of splashes into a small puddle that's made its way into the ground. But as you look, you see the one in the center is definitely cradling something around the size of a baby. You suspect that that's probably Yolanda, but for whatever reason, as the lightning kind of flickers in the sky, your eyes' attention is brought towards the puddle that you just currently stepped in. And as you look down, you see your obvious own reflection but you're met with a horrible uh,
Red color.
a horrible vision as you see yourself. And really quickly, I'm just going to show you that you see yourself with dark, matted hair,
Oh,
horns
that is
completely black.
awesome!
Your face is all withered with what can only be described as like age and almost rot. Your clothes, once bright, are completely dragged in black as you just kind of like are marching forward, and your eyes catch this attention. You see this, and you are almost like caught aghast. You step back and you look to the group. You look at your own
Oh my
skin.
God. No, this is great. I'm like going. You're saying exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah, she would definitely have stepped back. Like there's this moment where she was ready to just charge in, just like catching one of the lightning bolts onto her sword. It's not here, Stephen. But seeing that reflection, instead of charging after the woman or whoever it is with what looks to be the child, she just kind of freezes, steps back, examines herself again, just to kind of like, did I change? What happened to me? And she'll quickly look to others and just like, the child's there. And she'll point, hoping that they'll go forward and get the child, because she's really shaken.
Yeah, being beside Yaya Dragar would just see all that, the look in her eyes and her step back and her point, and then I would immediately walk towards where she was pointing.
Dirge would place a hand on her shoulder and she'll say, I promise I won't let you do anything you regret.
And I'm going to zoom in a bit here so I can drag and drop in all these. I guess I should do this first. Bam.
Oh, that is such a pretty picture. I like it.
And as the lightning flashes again into the puddle, Gaia, the vision is gone, and you're still yourself, although a little more panicked, obviously. The dark kind of vision of yourself has dispersed, but you still get this very anxious feeling of something to come. So obviously, like I said, this map isn't to scale, so unfortunately I'm just doing this for the purpose of initiative tracking. But yeah, is Dragar... Adrian sees you kind of being hesitant and is not really taking... He's side by side with Dragar. He calls out to the druids, who are still chanting Winter Splinter over and over again, rhythmically, dancing around the center druid, and he says, "Give my child back to me."
Dragar is going for the baby.
As you start to get close, you hear a voice, one very unfamiliar to you, but monotone and just calm and dark, and he says, "I would not interrupt them if I were you."
It might make me hesitate a bit. Dragar might pause a little, but he would look around for the voice anywhere he possibly could. He would look to his companion. What did you say his name was?
Adrian Martikov is the half raven right beside you right now, with Elver, the younger brother. They both stop hearing his voice, and as you look to that voice that you just heard, you're met with this vision of a elven man, dark, slicked back, long hair that kind of is just combed back and flows down the back of his head. His pointy ears kind of stick up, and you just see these dark, glaring eyes as he sits on top of this skeletal steed that clearly does not look like it's of natural, just some kind of magical entity. And he sits there and smiles at you and says, "Step back from the ritual."
Dragar asks what will happen to the baby.
"Well, with all rituals, a price must be paid."
Yeah, Dragar would continue towards the baby.
He would step forward, and he would raise his hand, and suddenly from the ground, this dead earth that you guys didn't really take much time to inspect, you would notice that there is loose kind of fodder and whatnot, and bursting from the ground, basically hiding in these graves, are some pretty hideous looking folk. And I'm going to drag them on over. And bursting from the ground are these men, but calling them men is probably less true as to just calling them monstrosity of men. They're just rippled with muscles and have these dark mass, basically what looks like ingrained into their skin, chains just kind of hanging off for some sick reason. They have these spiked gauntlets, and they just rise from the ground. And the elf-looking man, he smiles to you and says, I would think carefully about your next decision. The master has sent me here to oversee this, and he would be very disappointed if his little ceremony did not go off. He would be here himself, but unfortunately, he is busy at a little festival.
I think at this point, Dragar would return to his group at the doorway. He would look to Gaia to make sure she was okay. And then he would slowly draw his warhammer, and he would say, Dragar says fight or run, I'll understand. And he would turn back, and he would go for the baby.
Cool.
Indeed, and Gaia would just have echoed in a similar manner, just like, I'd rather be dead than to allow such a sacrifice to be had, essentially.
All right, so obviously we're rolling initiative then.
Sorry, guys.
It's all good. My character's pretty intent on this, too. Ooh, good roll. I think I need to edit macros. Yeah.
See, my perspective with Dirge is she doesn't go last. She just goes first on the second turn. You see.
That's good. I like that.
I heard that one today and I had to use it.
I'm not sure if I can call a rage out before initiative, but I don't know. I just, I'll wait for my turn, obviously, but it would be cool to see Dragar just fucking grab the warhammer, tattoos start to glow, and then just turn back towards the monsters.
Yeah, sounds good for me. It's not like they're jumping. The druids are literally paying no attention to you guys, whatever. They almost seem to be in a trance. I'm just going to roll one druid initiative. And then going to roll Ishmark, and I am good to go.
I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since our last session. Did we all take their mounts to get here?
Yeah, you took the Martikov's mounts, and Gaia, in a hurry, transformed into a raven somehow, despite not knowing how to do that before. Very mysterious power that she called into.
It's all the blessings of Palor, I tell you. Like, just suddenly, it's obviously something she can do.
They put raven blood in the water, you know? Let you do a little
Totally.
That would have been pretty wild.
Move you guys out of that, because it's a cluster there, so give me a second here. And then you guys just reposition yourself. However you see fit. The druids are basically up front, and these hulking men that burst from the ground just basically form a wall in between you and the circle of druids. And then the elf that called out to you is basically in the eastern side of the hill, the rock wall, just basically sitting back. And as he raises his hand and calls forth these men from the ground, he actually just sits his hand back and rested on top of the saddle that he's on, and just sits on his horse and just watches with interest what's about to unfold. So initiative, everybody's in. Gaia, you spring to action first. You see Dragar start to go into a rage, and you realize that even though that vision you saw of yourself, it's no time to have any kind of second thoughts. Action is the only thing that can be done now.
Oh, indeed, indeed. She is intent, and she is going to catch one of those lightning strikes as it comes bailing down. She's going to go over here and stab and see if she can let off some smiting damage. Okay, alright, where is it? Short sword. So 14.
14 is a hit.
Hallelujah! And let's also add in 2d8 for a total of 8 radiant damage, or lightning damage, I mean, and 9 piercing.
9 piercing. Alright, you dash in, and with your sword, you stab into this hulking man creature. You cut right through his chest, and a radiant light kind of explodes from your sword as you cut him a gash right across the chest. He just sits there. You see breath just basically push out of this leather mask that seems to be ingrained into his face. He doesn't show any emotion or any pain. He just sits there and grunts at you.
Ah! He taunts me.
The druids continue to go around in circles, chanting "Winter Splinter" over and over again in some kind of like hypnotic trance of a dance, just basically shimmying around each other in this druid in the circle or the center, performing obviously some kind of ritual. The first berserker will walk forward and start to just go for the first of the Martikov brothers. He goes for the youngest one, Elver, and does a swing with his giant great axe, slashing it into the ground. The Werewaven is much quicker than you would suspect at this point. He flaps his wings, pushing himself back, and the axe slams into the ground, narrowly missing him. Next up is the first one, who will dodge in and swipe at the berserker attacking his brother. And then this guy will go on to you, Gaia, and he will also try to great axe swing. And 9 damage comes slamming into you. As you're pulling your sword out, the radiant damage is fading away. You're caught by the side of this guy's great axe, who steps in and slams it into the side of your thigh. Dragar is now up.
Alright, so Dragar now, fueled by the power of his rage, his tattoos glowing a very dull, bright, like a very dull yellow, and it's just pure red. Kind of has a smile on his face. He was kind of, looking forward to a decent battle, or at least something worthy of truly dying in and not feeling, sad about his death. He would run up to the side of Gaia, and or actually, I would imagine Gaia would have ran up to the side of Dragar to get into the fight. So at least we're side by side now. And since Dragar's rage has the totem of the wolf, and all characters have advantage fighting anything that's within 5 feet of Dragar that's mad at him, that's up to you guys later on. But Dragar would swing his warhammer with 2 hands as hard as he could at the first giant gargantuan guy in front of me.
Go ahead.
Damn it. Well, that's okay, because I would swing again with my second attack.
He grabs your warhammer as you swing and then kicks you back. You slide through the dirt and then ready yourself to charge in again.
Alright, we're running straight back in with a double-handed warhammer again. I would hopefully hit him with a 19 that time.
This time you do. He kind of braces himself with his spiky gauntlets, but the strength and power of Dragar is easily overcome by this giant's arm, and you slam into his arms, breaking. You hear snapping of his kind of like wrists, and then the hammer just pushes through and hits him directly in the chest, knocking him back also like several kind of feet. 14 damage.
Yep. And then Dragar would just brace himself and kind of, if he could, possibly kind of step not in front of Gaia, but definitely try to make himself the bigger target.
Absolutely. So you just basically try to get up in there, and hopefully Gaia doesn't become the center of attraction.
Exactly.
Let's see what happens. Next up is another berserker who will charge in, and they're basically going to start equally fighting 2-on-2 with the 2 Martikov brothers, who seem to be holding their own. They're going back and forth, and Rion, you're now up.
Okay. Is there any way past? I'm guessing these Goliath berserker guys are forming a wall preventing us to get druids?
Yeah, for the most part. Basically, Gaia and Dragar and the 2 brothers basically go straight for the line, and then as this elf calls forth these guys, they put like a wall essentially between you. If you really wanted to spend a bunch of movement, you probably could get around them. Even like climbing on rocks or going around the entire circle or whatnot, but it's definitely not without a disengage, you're not going to be able to get straight to them, if that makes sense. Straight to the druids,
Okay.
that is.
Now, here's my question for you. If I do invisibility and then run past them, would they still be able to do an attack of opportunity? Because they don't know necessarily that I'm
No.
there. So, how does that work?
I
I'm asking-
believe. I
You have
believe.
to be able to see the target to opportunity.
I'm asking the DM, Joe. It's
Okay.
his game.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that they'll get a perception check because they obviously have other sights. Regardless, if they do happen to see you, they would get to swing at disadvantage.
Okay.
So that's definitely
Then
valid.
I will go ahead and do that. Hit invisibility and then try to run straight past them. I don't know.
And
where-
basically, with
I'll
how
just kinda
big
keep
the
myself in
field
back
is,
now.
you would be able to get to the druid circle, but not necessarily right into it, if that makes sense. Because this is like
Okay,
literally
that's fine. That's exactly what I
200
wanted.
feet circle. So go ahead and do your. I guess you don't really need to do a stealth at advantage just to see like if your tracks or whatnot are seen.
Before I do disappear, I will throw out some words of inspiration to Dragar, giving him bardic inspiration.
And all you need to do is beat their passive of 10, and you're fine. So as long as you don't like trip over your own feet and cause a big ruckus, you're good. So yeah,
with the
you
20.
easily make it by. You just you inspire Dragar with words of confidence, telling him to continue fighting on, and then quickly you flash out of visibility, going completely translucent. Everyone loses focus of you, and you dash through as the berserkers are starting to make their way forward. They actually almost like walk into you, but you're able to do like a spin and slip by them without them even noticing. You hear one like sniff the air, but is none the lot wiser and just continues to look at the fight. And you basically come upon this druidic circle now. You're within movement. You can see very clearly them dancing around. You hear the baby now crying, Yolanda, in the center of this circle. One of the druids is just hovering over it, having it cradled gently into its chest, and he's rocking back and forth. And at this point, you see him hold up like a sacrificial dagger, and he just holds it into the sky, almost as if like asking permission for something.
Please let me just have call lightning right now. I zopped that thing out of its hand so fast.
And kill the baby in the process?
With no one else
Talking about the dagger.
really that in combat yet, he's going to come up upon you, Gaia, and he'll swing again with his great axe. This time, as you are in combat, you see this one just let out a enraged grunt as he seems to throw caution to the absolute wind, and he double hands this great axe and just starts swinging it back and forth like someone scything through grass with a sickle, cutting grass. He runs to you with tremendous force, recklessly swinging. Did that go off? Is that what I rolled right there? Yeah, I think so, eh? Or no?
I think a 16 still gets her.
I don't think that was my roll, though, but that's fine.
10 damage.
10 damage as he crunches into you again. Now you're just, even though Dragar is basically holding off the front too, this guy comes in behind you. You notice that as he does this, though, he leaves a big opening. He has basically no defenses. He's just swinging caution to the wind as hard as he can. Dirge, you see this going down and are able to spring into action.
Everyone else ahead of me is gone.
Besides Dragar and Ishmark.
Okay. Yeah. I said, how far away is that the baby from us? You said it's pretty close.
Not really. Maybe a full dash would put you almost within next turn movement.
All right. The scale of this map is all wonkers. So I had a plan to get them, but if they're more than 60 feet away, it's a little awkward.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, Dirge would just immediately charge up. Let's go right here. And focus 2 attacks on this guy.
Okay, which one again? Ping it? I missed it, sorry.
Actually, let me stand right here.
Okay.
As far ahead as I can while still attacking this guy.
Yep, sounds good.
Dirge will attack twice with advantage because of the barbarian.
Yeah.
Hey, where are you going?
And if I land a hit, I'm obviously gonna try to smite.
Yep.
switch that. 1 second. How do I switch the sheet to? Fuck it, I'll just roll twice. Most of these sheets have an advantage button. I don't see it though. That's weird. Whatever. Well, it's fucking terrible.
Yeah, that is a miss nonetheless. As it falls back from Dragar's combat, it is able to grab your warhammer with its hand and throw it away as you try to land a strike on it.
Okay, and then she'll pull back and try a second time, trying to roll higher than a 6 with 2 rolls. There we go, it's a little bit better.
That does get through this time.
It hits him for 5 damage, and as it hits him, you see the weapon crackle with holy energy, and a smite is dropped upon him for 8 more damage.
Okay.
And then, as a bonus action, Dirge will cast Shield of Faith and put it on Gaia. And so you basically, after she smashes into this creature, she kind of points one of her fingers at Gaia, and then this melody fills the air, and that melody coalesces around her, forming a shield.
What does Shield of Faith give her? Plus something to AC?
+2.
+2. Alright.
And I believe that's it.
Awesome.
Let's see what's going on here. Cool. Next up is Ishmark, and he's just going to sprint in with his 2 swords drawn right into the fray with you guys, taking the one that just landed recklessly an attack at you, Gaia. Seeing an opportunity, a weakness in his defense, he pulls out his actually 2 short swords and swings twice at advantage. Hitting once, the short sword draws across its back. He does a quick kind of spin move and then stabs into the creature's spine once more. And that will end his turn. And let me just do that damage real quick. Total of 14. 43. The second last one to not act now sees Ishmark landing a strike onto this creature's back and comes up behind him. Great axe drawn. He's also going to swing absolutely recklessly at it and hitting Ishmark with a devastating blow, doing some pretty significant damage to him. And last but not least, the one right in front of you, Gaia, that you originally engaged with, will swing once more. And they're all just going caution to the wind now. It doesn't seem like these guys are that smart, and they're just going to reckless swing 13 damage at you.
Excellent.
You're back up, though, as I rectify this damage done to Ishmark. Okay.
Yeah. Lay on hands. Is that's a bonus action, or do I have to do a full action?
Joe, you're the paladin or expert. Bonus action or regular?
For what?
Lay on hands.
Lay on hands.
It's an action.
Action.
Okay.
Dang.
There's no paladins don't really get bonus action heals except for aura vitality, which is an action to set up.
All right. So what do you got, Gaia?
Up to you what you want to do. I mean, you're hurt pretty badly from what I saw.
So my thoughts are I'm going to have her do lay on hands herself to really boost herself up. And since she's dual wielding, can she use her bonus action to do a strike?
Yep.
You're a druid, aren't you? Do druids get healing word?
Probably, but she does not have that one prepared.
Uh-oh.
I have Magic Cure Wounds and Thunderwave right now for her druid spells.
Yeah, I'll let you do an offhand strike though, if you want to heal and then do that.
Awesome possum. So, delete that, Mary.
Well, there's an easy way to heal as a druid. Are you considered a land or a moon druid?
Land.
Oh, never mind.
Yep. Yeah, and then she'll do her offhand strike, which will probably just be a flat out D20.
You get advantage.
Yep,
Yeah,
you
that's
get
right,
advantage.
that's right, thank you. Yeah, and that didn't help. Bummer. No, she's definitely trying to stitch up some of the...
You get a modifier to hit on your offhand.
Neither one's gonna help unless you.
I'm gonna pitch in if I can anyway. Dragar would look to Guy and he would say, Dragar says there's an opening, you should run, and Dragar would give Guy inspiration.
I don't know if I can use inspiration when I already have advantage.
Yeah, unless you actually have or no, he can't. She already has advantage. Sorry.
Really? Yeah.
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 What is your modifier though? Really quickly, you still have proficiency with your weapon.
Yeah. It would be like plus 3.
All right, then yeah, it just barely gets through then.
Oh, nice. All right. Then that is a D6 coming through, and this is being her offhanded attack. Does she set some radiant damage through?
Okay.
With her divine smite? Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, any hit can smite.
So lightning bursts through this blade as she just barely makes contact on this creature, and 12 points of lightning damage.
14 damage in total. And just to clarify, is it the one to your left, top, or bottom that you're hitting? That one? Okay.
Yep.
14 damage. That brings him down to...
Is he looking less healthy?
He's looking less healthy, but as he stares at you and blood trickles down from his chest, he shows no emotion whatsoever of being even striked by you. His form is pushed back from the radiant blast, but he just instantly readies himself for another attack. These guys don't look like they're super hurt, if that helps you out.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Fighting them seems like a really bad idea.
And then going back to the combat with the Martikov brothers, this guy swings recklessly, hitting into Adrian for 4 damage, luckily for him. Next up is Adrian himself, who at this point seems like you guys are getting overwhelmed. He isn't a fool and he recognizes this. He pulls something out of his basically pocket that he had in the clothes, and he puts something to his mouth, and it basically amplifies this call of what sounds like the call of a raven, only it completely echoes across the entire hill, and even seems to like temporarily outweigh the sound of the thunder that's rolling over you guys. And then we'll, as he puts that down, drop and kind of do a offhand strike. And misses, or no, at advantage, so yeah, he hits. And as his turn comes to an end, he lands the strike. You hear what sounds like the calling of birds, and as you look to your horizon up in the north, you see what can only be described as these black swarmed wings in the sky. You see a swarm of ravens start to descend upon the area. They're still a ways out, but it seems like there is a whole buttload of ravens coming to see what's going on over here. Next up is the one who is now going to fight Dragar. Now that you're up in front of him, he takes his attention away from Gaia, and he's just going to swing at you, missing. Dragar, you grab the great axe, kind of just like slamming it in between your hands, catching the blade in front of you, and you just push it back into him. And now you're up.
That would be exactly what I would have done, so thank you for saying it. Alright, so I guess at this point Dragar would look to Gaia and say, try to get to the... Dragar says you should get to the baby with, I don't want to say anything else because one of our members is trying to get up there all sneakily. And I will recklessly attack the gentleman in front of me.
Go ahead.
With two-hand warhammer.
Just tell me what you roll, because I'm pulling up other stuff right now.
I rolled a 25, a crit.
Definite hit.
With that would be 23 damage.
23 damage, beautiful. This guy now shows emotion. You hear a large grunt as your warhammer sinks right onto his shoulder. You hear the collapse of his left shoulder. It sounds like you absolutely fractured these muscular through the muscle and right into the bone. You see his left kind of arm just totally give way, and that is a devastating amount of damage. He looks a little worse for wear.
Actually, I have a note over here saying that I don't get I don't get the extra bonus onto my rage for critting. Do I? Do I get the extra 2 on rage, or should I just take the 2 damage for rage?
I think it's only dice rolls, so I could be
so
wrong.
It's 2 less damage. Yeah.
Okay, so it's only 21 damage. I just want to. Okay, I got notes. I have lots of notes.
So 21 damage, you said?
21 damage, and then I'd like to try but through after crushing his shoulder with the warhammer, I would like to almost, with the momentum of the warhammer swinging, I almost want to change hand positions so that I can rotate it past my left shoulder and double strike him again with the warhammer.
Go ahead.
17.
Definitely a hit.
So 9 damage.
9 damage. This, as you slam into him again, you hear his rib cage shatter. He's now breathing deeply, and as he backs away and momentarily props his arm on his good arm on his right knee, you see him bend down, and blood, he coughs, starts seeping through this mask and like dripping over his chin. He looks like he's barely hanging on to life at this point.
And Dragar would just yell extremely loudly, not having any roars or anything yet, but just just scream into the air with his hands up and grab his warhammer and look to his comrades and get ready for the next blow.
Perfect. Very nice. The Raven, or the other berserker fighting with the Raven brothers, goes in on Adrian again. They're just double teaming him as his brother's kind of helplessly trying to defend him, but getting through another strike. Adrian's starting to look a little worse for wear. He calls out to his brother, "Leave me, Elver. Get to Yolanda. I'll hold them back." And he just coughs out blood as another axe sinks into him. "Don't worry about me." Elver being up, he steps back. You know he wants to fight what his brother is saying, but also knows that he speaks true and that his brother would never forget him if he chose this over his daughter. And he jumps to the air, flapping his wings, and flies over these berserkers and basically lands very close to around the same position as you, Rion, right outside the druid circle. And you're now up. He doesn't see you, obviously. He has no clue you're there, but he lands awkwardly kind of close to you.
Okay, can you arrange how the druids are, like, and how far apart and all that? So, yeah, because that's probably going to depend on what I do.
Okay, give me a second. Obviously, like, keep in mind it's still theater of the mind, but just to give you like a rough example, it's kind of hard to simulate it on this grid. But there's one in the middle, and then the rest of them are kind of dancing around in a circle. And then I'll say you are roughly, where the hell's your character? I can't find him.
Over here.
Oh, Jesus. You kind of like land around there, so roughly like 30 feet from the center of this circle.
Okay.
And they're just dancing around.
And how far away are each of the druids dancing around?
Probably about 20 to 30 feet away from each other. So all within a movement from each other.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So with this wall, how high up is the wall that I'm hiding behind?
Highest or hiding behind? You're in this. Did you go on the outside of the wall?
That's kind of what I assumed.
Okay,
I just ran up to the wall and that's where I was.
Okay. The wall at its highest peak is probably 15 feet, and at its lowest maybe 10. So just to clarify, are you on that side of the wall or in the circle?
Well, if it was 15 feet, I think I would be more towards the gap so that way I could see in.
Okay. No, at this point, you're like, if you're approaching the druided circle, they are right around this kind of statue or wooden
Oh, okay.
effigy, and then they're dancing around that kind of on the western side of the wall. So you definitely don't need to go around you can just straight up walk inside the pit and get up to them without going around the wall. You went invisible, so it didn't really matter.
Well, I'm about to come out of invisibility. Let me just double check what this spell does at a higher level. Okay, where's the guy that was on the horse? Did he disappear, or
no? He's still just
still
sitting there
in the
watching
circle?
all this, and he's eastward. He's farthest away from you, basically on the other side of this stone ring.
Okay, then I'm not going to worry about him. Then I'm going to cast Hold Person on the person with the dagger that's about to stab the baby.
Okay.
So wisdom save, please.
Yep.
DC 14.
When you put it that way, it sounds so much eviler.
Oh. And you passed it.
He just manages to pass it. You see his arm. He starts rocking momentarily, and you can see him just mentally trying to fight you off. And when you're trying to hold him, you basically he kind of whelms you with this chaos of thought. For whatever reason, you almost start to like tap into his mind. And when you're there trying to capture his brain and tell him to stop moving, all you hear is absolute chaos and just violence in his head, and it just makes you reel away, losing your concentration.
Okay. Can I use my bonus action to make a hand crossbow shot at him?
Yep, at the one in the center?
Yes,
Okay.
but I would like to target the dagger, or at least his arm, like some way to prevent him from like bringing that dagger down onto this poor child.
Okay.
I will spend an inspiration to roll at advantage.
Okay.
Ooh, that was a waste.
Yeah, you managed to hit anyways, though. So
Okay.
you don't actually have to explain that. Sorry, you kind of jumped the gun. Don't worry about spending it. I was just going to see if you rolled better. But he's definitely going to get a save to have hopefully not be disarmed. As soon as I find their stats. And he... definitely you hit him, but he doesn't drop the dagger.
Okay.
So how much damage is that, sorry?
4 piercing.
Okay. All right. What else was I trying to do? All right, next up is a Berserker, and then following that is going to be Dirge. The Berserker engaged with Ishmark. He turns his back to turns around, reeling to where Ishmark just currently stabbed him in the back. He lets out a grunt, air just basically exhuming from his mouth, and then with a frenzied attack, he swings recklessly and hits Ishmark for 6 damage, slashing across his arm now, almost losing the sword that he wields, but he manages to keep hold of it. Urge. Who is on mute?
Fucking mute. Alright, you said this Berserker looks really badly injured, right?
Oh, yeah.
Alright, Dirge is gonna lift up her Warhammer and try to end him.
Okay.
Unless she rolls horrible again.
Nice.
There you go.
Alright, so that's obviously a crit. She would obviously have smited him, trying to finish him off.
Yep.
I'm guessing he's dead with the
Oh,
smite.
yeah. Absolutely. Describe what it looks like.
So, kind of her eyes are trailing off towards the sacrificial guy, and she kind of just like lightly grunts and just swings at him with all of her might, apparently getting double advantage crits as this Warhammer just hits him on the side, and as the Warhammer crackles and spurts out radiant energy, his head is literally just ripped off his shoulders, and his body lifelessly falls to the ground. And you would think that Dirge would have taken just a second to revel in her victory, but she takes 2 steps down here, and as she does so, you see her vanish in a puff of smoke, and she appears right next to the guy holding the baby, and she'll use an action to pull the baby free of his hands.
All right. Let's see.
Or using her second attack, I should say.
Strength contest then.
Nice.
Yeah.
Give me my baby.
Athletics check.
Yes.
Pick grapple.
And he can dex that, so he's going to try acrobatics, but that's a pretty high roll. You basically get the baby in your possession. He's still kind of holding on to it, but for the most part, it's more in your possession than his.
All right, and then with that, she only moved 10 feet to get here, so she'll run 20 feet.
No, you're definitely over your movement now.
All right, well, she's standing next to him holding the baby then.
Yep. Ishmael can combat with the two berserkers. He's going to go into another swing with his sword twice, short sword, doing kind of like a spinning move. He swings once, hitting, and then coming back again. He pulls back and drives his sword into the creature's chest, both hitting for a total of 14 damage. Very nice. He seems to be holding his own against these two, even though they're getting some good strikes off on him. He is equally doing damage back to at least one of them. And just as he thinks he's getting the upper hand, the one charging in reels up his overhand axe and tries to slam it into the ground on top of him. Hitting him? No. He dodges out of the way at the last second, just narrowly cutting piece a loose kind of article of clothing near his leg. He jumps out of the way. And next up is the one fighting you, Gaia. Swing recklessly. 12 damage. As another strike, uppercut, tool-wielding axe comes right into your chest and kind of splintering away some of your armor. You're up now. You feel the wind knocked out of you, but you don't have time to think about it as you're up fighting this creature. What do we got here? What am I looking for? You're on mute if you're trying to talk.
I totally forgot I was on mute. Thank you for that. But I'll take the 23 and the 14 because she's doing 2 attacks, both at advantage.
Sounds good.
So,
and what's the total damage we're doing here?
That would be 9/7 plus another
16.
burst of smite for an extra 11 points of lightning damage.
Very nice.
Shooting out of that first thrust.
You just blow into this guy, just a powerful radiant strike cuts across his chest again, basically forming like an X now, and just blood gushing over him, almost pouring out. He starts to look like a little worse for wear.
Die already!
The druids will obviously try to get Yolanda back. What do they have to do so? What is that spell? I believe it's a dex save I need from you. Just let me double check. Where are you? You need to make a strength saving throw as one of the druids, seeing that you interrupting their ritual, stops chanting Winter Splinter. Most of them go on, continuing. He brings his staff up and he points at you and speaks in some feral language. He slams his staff into the ground, and the 50-foot tall effigy of this wooden, almost vampire-looking creature, you see roots start to sink into the ground, moving at their own accord, and then bursting up in front of you as you're surrounded by these vines and weeds that are trying to restrain you. Strength saving throw. Easily makes it. The rest are going to continue to chant except the one that you're trying to directly pull it from, and he is going to basically just try to pull the child away from you. You got to beat a 17.
I will give Dirge advantage. If I must.
Dirge, are you going to give advantage? You have inspiration to give to him?
Yeah, I do.
All right, then.
Please, Dirge, use it.
Then
That
roll
might be
again.
safe.
Makes
20.
it. You at this point pull the baby right from its hand. He hisses at you in anger. Most of them still dancing around, chanting this winter splinter over and over again. The raven swarm now descends upon you guys and instantly starts pecking and crawling and going at the first berserker in front of Gaia, and they are going to swarm, opening, vice versa, blah blah blah. Okay. Miss it, or hit it, for 4 damage. They basically encase this guy with ravens, and you just see them pecking at his skin and ripping away parts of flesh and scratching across him, even worse than Gaia, or not, just adding to the worst damage that Gaia has done. Putting him at that, he looks pretty rough. Next up is the one fighting Adrian. Adrian looking like he might go down soon. He has to survive another blow, which is a crit. Unfortunate for him, that is 12 plus 25 damage. Ouch. Adrian goes down. You see him just a puff of feathers and blood as he hits the ground with a tremendous thud. You hear his last words, "Just save Yolanda," as he's knocked unconscious.
Well, yes, but no, don't go down.
Next up is him. He'll make his first death saving throw, which you guys don't need to worry about. Dragar, you're up. You're on mute also if you're trying to speak, Dragar.
Thank you, and sorry, fucking mute. Dragar would go to the one in front of Gaia, and he would dual wield his Great Warhammer and go for its head. For 10 damage.
Very nice. He is bloodied at this point. It looks like one more strike will take him down. Does Dragar have it in him to give it?
I will do that strike, sir. I will do that strike.
Oh,
Yes, you will.
describe what that looks like.
Take 2 off the ridge. Dragar comes down, hits him with one smash into the head, and then continues the axe blow around to his left shoulder again, and just comes up, switches hands, and completely crushes the monster's head right into its shoulders. At this point, all you see is the flattened helmet and shoulders. It falls down onto the ground dead.
Nice. Anything else? Movement, or I know you did most of your actions.
Yeah, I didn't move yet, so I did move. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Next up is the one who just witnessed Adrian go down. The elf that's been sitting and watching this now has like a look of irritation on his face as he sees Dirge and Rion and Elver impeding on this ritual that they are currently trying to do. And he points a hand, and then this one basically turns around and will go for the raven folk. Not really seeing him coming, he is easily able to land a slashing at the last moment. He does turn and see the strike coming though, and is able to duck away from most of the damage. Elver will then run in to the druidic circle, not even worrying about the creature that's going to swing at him once more, and basically just try to tackle the one that is currently in some kind of grapple contest with you, just to free you up that much more. Dirge, so he tries to tackle him down. 18. I'm going to say that he probably does it. Let me just make sure. He does tackle you away, completely freeing you up. Nonetheless, though, the Berserker is going to try to strike again. and this time again hitting him, whittling him down. He doesn't even seem to notice though, as he's more intent on just getting Yolanda out of there. He falls into the circle, landing on top of this druid and tackling him away. He says, "Run! Save Yolanda! Just get out of here!" Rion, you're up.
Okay. So let's see.
And by the way, as this is all happening, Dirge kind of calls out to her allies as she notices what's going on, and she says, "The elf, he's controlling the berserkers. He pointed and they followed."
Rion, what do you got?
I'm gonna cast hold person, but I'm gonna cast a higher level spell to affect this druid and affect this berserker
Cool.
as well.
Sounds good. Wisdom
I
save
need to-
first from the berserker. He definitely fails. He's held there. The druid, as he tries to continue forward, the berserker is just instantly frozen in place. The druid's still in its chance. This one hasn't actually stopped. It's calling out Winter Splinter over and over again. 14?
Yeah, that's right on the money.
Perfect. He
So,
continues
he's
going.
good.
Let me just mark this guy so I don't forget that he's held. We'll do that weird icon. Next up is the one fighting Ishmark. He's going to swing at Ishmark again. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off. Yeah, it's still your turn.
Yeah. So the druid that took the baby away originally, like he's pinned down on the ground, correct?
Yeah, he's in kind of like this on-the-ground grapple contest with the half-looking raven person you know as Elver.
Okay. I guess what I'll do is, since I have this guy hold, I'm going to step back a little bit and then shoot at one of these. I'm going to say whichever one's more wounded of these two berserkers back here next to Ishmar.
Yep, the one directly to his left is visibly bleeding, as the other one Ishmark hasn't had time to address. He's just trying to parry the attacks and having very little luck. So go ahead and fire that crossbow. 6.
Yeah.
The shot whizzes by over his shoulder up into the sky. You see a bolt of lightning take it down.
Is Dragar a little bit lower on the map? I know we're doing Theater of the Mind, but he's engaged, right, with the bottom two guys?
I would assume so.
Okay.
Or no, he said he used his movement. Right, Dragar?
Yeah, Dragar would be... Where is he?
You can move him, sorry. I was moving him for you.
Yeah, Dragar would be right basically where this berserker here is.
Okay.
In front of Dragar is. He'd be right beside Gaia on the top.
All right. With that being said, this guy is going to swing at Ishmark once more, and although he's holding his own, he definitely is taking a substantial amount of damage. This time, though, the axe comes through, and he holds both swords out in kind of like a crossed X formation, and you see sparks flying across the sword as it runs down into the center, and he just holds with strength. You see his legs kind of kick back into the dirt, but he is able to take most of the brunt of the attack and push it away, taking no damage. Dirge, you're up.
Yeah, Dirge would see this druid kind of on the ground being wrestled around.
Elver is just yelling over and over again, like, "Run! Save Yolanda! Get out of here! It's too dangerous for her!"
Yeah, Dirge would have a plan here, so she's gonna just run up. This guy's on the ground prone next to her, right? So he can't really do much. He's being grappled.
No, he wouldn't be able to swing at you.
Alright, Dirge will just run up. She'll probably run up as far as she can up here.
Okay.
Trying
So
to get
you
away.
basically get semi-close to the outer area of the circle now. You're probably about a movement away from actually being outside of it, but you're definitely within vision of the outer rim of this area, so that's fine putting her there, just to keep in mind.
Yeah, well, she'll use a dash action.
Oh, okay, then definitely out then.
Yeah. And from here, I guess she'll kind of see if any of them follow after her.
The druids.
Pretty far away. Well, no, I don't care about the druids.
Okay.
The berserkers or the elf to see if that's what her plan is.
Okay. You don't notice that anyone actually is paying any attention to you at this point in time.
And by the way, after she does that, she'll cast Shield of Faith on herself now.
Cool. Removing it from Gaia. Gotcha.
Yeah, they're not really attacking her too much anymore.
Yeah. Ishmark, still in combat. the arrow flies over his head from Rion. He takes his short sword and quickly stabs twice with it. Hitting with only one this time, unfortunately. The other sword is bashed away with this giant berserker's hand. The other strike gets through, though, dealing another 6 damage to him. Okay. Berserker behind him. He sidesteps to hopefully avoid the attack, but the creature just moves forth, never relenting, just recklessly swinging over and over again. You wonder how he can even keep this kind of stamina up, but Ishmar again rolls away to the side and is able to dodge that attack. This guy is dead. Gaia, you're up. You see Dirge tackle away the baby or rip away the baby. Elver dive in and just basically free up even more room for Dirge to run, and her just full on sprint out, obviously with Yolanda safe in hand.
Alright.
You also give me a perception at this point.
Sure thing.
Everybody can at this point, actually.
9.
Dirge is enough. You notice that the storm is absolutely gone batshit crazy. Lightning at this point is just sparking everywhere in the sky. As you look up, it's almost like a light show, unlike anything you've ever seen. The clouds are just so black that it actually almost makes the entire area start to look dark at this point. People without dark vision would actually at this point start to be struggling to see. And lightning, no rain has fallen, but lightning is just striking everywhere across the sky. Gaia, you're still up, though.
Yeah. Well, she's going to send in another 2 attacks. Was this guy fighting recklessly? Yes?
Yep, you can just assume all berserkers are fighting recklessly at this point.
She's going to take that 16.
Hit.
The other 2 did not hit. So she is only going to have 7 points of piercing damage. Go in as dang it.
Any radiant magic?
No, she feels like it's not really it's helping. But it's like I'll say that just in case. But she's wanting to go try and join up with Dirge, but I'm like, that's going to generate an AoE because I don't think she has mobile.
All right, Druid's up now. The one that originally tried to cast Entangle on you calls out to a couple of the other Druids, and now 3 of them that were once chanting now stop, leaving only 2 to chant. The other 3 descend upon Elver and completely surround him. And basically dogpile in on him. You actually lose vision of Elver as they all just dogpile in on top of him. Raven Swarm is going to keep ripping at, or moving along to the one that is fighting now. Ishmark, and it will try to rip its beak and claws, missing completely and actually just causing more chaos for you guys than anything. Ishmark, throughout the chaos though, will try to bash away the ravens that are kind of just hitting him in the head at this point and swing 2 strikes into the injured berserker, this time getting both attacks through for 12 more damage. The creature is at this point almost down on its knees, brink of death, blood just seeping out. It doesn't look like he has much more in him to give. Bloodied for sure. The other berserker who finished off Adrian will start to make its way to you, Rion, but isn't within range to get to you in one movement. These guys are pretty slow moving. And Dragar, you are now up. I actually forgot to do something, didn't I?
Do I have the ability to make it to Elver? I am not engaged with anything, and I believe I see a clear line of path without engaging an opportunity attack.
What's that, sorry? You're going for Elver?
Yeah, can I make it inside? He's still inside the circle, right?
Yeah, you guys are also. I kind of described it poorly. You guys are all inside this giant rock circle,
This
but in
is
front of the
huge,
little
right?
statue, in front of this huge 50-foot tall statue, is where the druids were having their ceremony. Um, from where you are, it is a full entire movement and probably a dash to get to him.
Okay, I did gain fast movement, so I did move up to 35 speed. I don't know if that's gonna help me or not, but
It would help you a bit, but still, you would need a dash. They're about like 50 feet away from you.
with one full movement, what would my range be?
One full movement, 35. I said 50 would put you in at
15 feet.
15 feet. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna do that if I can.
Yep.
I'm gonna move within 15 feet of Elver and the swarm of druids, and I'm gonna whip a light hammer. I know that I don't have rage on that, so I'm still gonna whip one though. Basically, it's a crowd just trying to obviously hit a druid instead of Elver.
Okay.
But I'm not picking one out. I'm just trying to separate the group a little bit.
All right, go ahead.
That's not me.
He's getting arrested.
Mwah.
Coming out.
All right, light hammer. That does hit a druid, and we'll say that you momentarily bop one in the head. You hear a thud sound as he kind of momentarily comes off the dog pile. You see Elver just like fighting them off, but blood. You see kind of this crimson red start to flow from the dirt underneath him as you just see the druids making obviously like aggressive hand motions towards him. You momentarily see him. He's obviously like calling out to you. You can't necessarily hear what he's saying, but you assume from what he's been yelling over and over again is just like save Yolanda. And you did 7 damage. That's a nice Warhammer bop.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Berserker, hold person, so he's basically useless, right? He doesn't even get a save, or does he?
I believe he does. Let me double check.
Wisdom, probably?
At the end of his turn, he gets to save you.
Yep, so wisdom save does not do it. He looks really angry that you're holding him here, but nonetheless cannot break free. You see Elver trying to fight through the pile, Rion. Obviously, he's just being dogpiled by like 4 druids, though. He doesn't seem like he's making much leeway. You do hear him being so close, just yelling to save Yolanda, like I said to Dirge.
Okay, then I'm going to move up towards the dog pile, getting basically point blank where I could target all of these druids, and I'm casting fear. So each one of them now needs to make a wisdom save, I believe.
What's the radius on it, just out of question?
It's a 30-foot cone.
Okay.
So
Cone.
even the bird raven guy kind of does too, but I have plans for him.
Yeah, so 30-foot cone. You'd definitely be able to hit everyone on the dog pile. I don't think you'd be able to get both of the chanters, though. Sound good?
Sure.
Because they're still like keeping their distance, basically trying to maintain the circle.
I'm targeting the dog pile.
All right.
I'm not
first up
focusing on them.
is let's see if Elver is afraid of you. He is not. He knows you're trying to save him. And then Druid, I gotta make 4 wisdom saves.
Mhm.
Fail. And can you just cast? Can you just spell card fear in there?
Mhm.
Just so I can read what it does. Fail. And last but not least, I believe I said 4. Pass.
So the last one passes.
All right. And is that it for Rion, or?
Well, considering how he passed, the hold person does end on the other berserker. I just want to throw that out there.
Okay.
I'm gonna give inspiration to. I'm trying to remember which bard I am. I think I'm just knowledge. So I'm going to give bardic inspiration to Gaia because I believe she's up next. Saying, finish this quickly. We could use help over here.
And as you say that, the almost bloodied and dead berserk stands back up and readies himself, frantically swinging one last time in desperation, and again landing, finding its mark on poor Ishmark. He takes another 12 damage, bringing him down to that. Dirge, you're now up. Still, from what you see, it doesn't look like in the chaos of this fight anyone is paying attention to you. You do notice, on the other hand, that the elf that's been standing this entire time looks like he's getting ready to rear his horse and maybe not necessarily charge. You can't really tell, but it looks like he's about to potentially move. He's not looking at you, though. And you're on mute.
Yeah. I'm just curious. How far away am I from the mounts?
From him?
No, our mounts.
Our mounts. Okay, so you are 100, 200, 300, 400, like 500 feet.
Alright, so not happening distance. Okay, sure. I don't even know where to run. Like the mounts are so far away right now. Fuck, I don't want to abandon my friends. That's a little awkward. I guess these people are, how far away are they from me?
Those people, we're going to say, are about 50 feet away from you, give or take. Not within a movement.
Yeah, fuck. I really don't want to run in there holding the baby.
Baby weapon. You got proficiency with baby, though.
I definitely have proficiency with babies. Absolutely proficiency. Yeah, fuck, this isn't good. I guess she'll... I know what she'll do. She'll point her finger out and aiming right here.
Okay.
You'll see these radiant beams of light will shower down from the heavens.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll draw them out. As I'll drop a moonbeam right there.
Okay. What kind of save?
Well, whenever a creature starts its turn or walks into it, they have to take a con save or take 2d10 radiant damage. So
Very
whenever
nice.
it's their turn, they have to do that. And then Dirge will start walking 30 feet farther away from the group.
Okay. You didn't mean to do this big rectangle, eh?
You can do it or whatever.
All right. Are you calling out anything to your friends as you go, or are you just kind of trying to like get away on your own?
Trying not to draw too much attention. She's just trying to make it to the things.
Gotcha. Ishmark, he's going to now try to, in a fancy move, finish off one, and then kicking off, stabbing into the other. Let's see if he does so. Definitely finishing off the one, and then to the one that has been menacing him from behind. That sounded dirty. Does not hit. But he does finish off the one right in front of him. And I grab the map and accidentally move it like crazy. Dead. He falls to the dead, wilted grass and dirt on the ground as a bolt of lightning precariously streaks above all your heads. Next up is the con save Moonbeam. Berserker number 1. He 16?
Yeah, that's a pass. I'll roll damage though.
Half damage, obviously.
Yeah, he takes 5.
5 damage. No other ailments for him?
If he's a shapeshifter, he passed, so it does not matter.
He is not.
The only other side effect is if they're a shapeshifter, I have advantage, or they have disadvantage, and their true form is revealed to click that.
Okay, so he obviously steps away from this moonlight and positions himself to strike at Ishmark again. This time, missing Ishmark again. He's holding his own. The elf, though, now he looks to actually what seems like Gaia to anyone paying attention, and he kicks at his horse and starts to trot. Correct me if I'm wrong, horse 60 feet?
Depends on the horse. Some are 50, some are 60.
Yeah, I'm going to say he has the 60, and he gets not right on top of you, Gaia, but rather uncomfortably close, and that puts him pretty much within... Let me see here. This require... Oh.
Warhorse has a movement of 60 feet.
Yeah, he puts himself roughly like 10, 15 feet between you Gaia, Ishmark, and Dragar. And as he gets close to all of you, you all at the same time hear what can only be described as thousands and thousands of people screaming for help and release, and just what sounds like death. People being murdered, but thousands of them. And it just seems to be emanating from this elf that stands in front of you. It is absolutely just like gut-wrenching as you hear this, and it takes every bit of your concentration to not just be overcome by the horrors that you're hearing. And he smiles and looks to you, Gaia, and he says, "You know the master. He's seen something in you. You're choosing a path of less power. You could be so much stronger if you give into the gift that has been given to you. You're led on by your false prophet who has no accord in this land. He be flashy, but he does not have any power here. What my master has given you is a chance to be a true power. You only simply need to take the opportunity, and you could rule so much." And he says that to you, Gaia. And he motions his head over to the pit where the druids are now chanting, and the two druids are chanting, and the one is basically, or the four are dogpiled onto Elver. 3 of them now feared but haven't taken their action. And he motions for you to go over there. And you basically know what he wants you to do. Finish the ceremony by blood. What does Gaia say?
But at the same time, I'd like her to just kind of very slowly, almost like as though she looks mesmerized and like, "You're right, huh?" Like walking up, she's gonna end up like attacking her, so she gets close. Like, her ghost is not flashy. He has given me plenty of strength. Your Strahd cannot offer such in comparison.
Your mic is acting up. Sorry to cut you off.
Super robot.
Really super robot.
You're a very dramatic robot. Very dramatic.
I may have to refresh.
Yeah, try a quick refresh, and then if that doesn't work, then we'll see what happens. Do 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 do. Gaia intently stares at this elf and ponders what he says to her. And does he have robot voice still?
I don't know.
You're clear. You're clear to give your dramatic.
Right. Let's see if we can do this. So, like, Gaia's white when she's hearing him just kind of throw out these things that could essentially be persuasive, but it's just making her boil under the skin, and she just kind of this very calm, almost too calm kind of look at, and like as though maybe she is taking this in, will walk up to him, and as she gets within range, she's going to attempt to attack him with her swords, basically calling him out like, "I do not need Strahd's power. It is false. My God gives me the strength as I need," and she will hopefully land something if I'm allowed to attack.
We'll give you a second because it's technically still his turn. He is just going to say that your God is nothing here. Your God's power is pitiful in comparison to my master's. Don't be foolish. Think of what he is offering you. It is a gift that not just anybody is offered. To tear this down is a disgrace. Do not be a fool.
Disgrace. Do you not understand why I'm even here? I've been sent here by Pelor because that needs to be stopped.
You've been sent here by Strahd, and he offers you true power. Take it or die.
That it shall be, if you can kill me.
Alright, then go ahead and attack. He doesn't attack you.
Excellent. Come on, guys. Jagar give me an advantage still?
Oh yeah, he's doing whatever he can to do whatever he can. I'm a little bit farther away though. I did move towards the dog pile, I did run towards the dog pile and I did fire, so I'm maybe like 25 to 30 feet away.
Poop. Your modifier is 1 higher, by the way, Mary.
Yeah,
so
11 and 9. Unfortunately, Gaia just is not able to get in.
Yeah, he rears his horse up, and the horse kind of goes on 2 back legs and almost kicks into your face. With that, though, it appears that he was readying for you to come in on him and swing. Give me. So, Dragar, you're not close, right? You're to the dog pile, you said?
I moved forward to the dog pile to
Right.
throw a light hammer.
Get you out of there. So then it's just Ishmark and Gaia who have to make wisdom saves.
Oh, hang on. Wait.
Oh, I'm waiting.
Does a no stupid bardic inspiration? I don't think a 13 will help.
Most definitely not.
I tried. Thank you, Rion, and thank you, Brain, for reminding me that I had bardic inspiration. Oh. Poop.
Okay, so what's your wisdom save? Ishmark's gonna make his.
Oh snaps! Wisdom. Ooh, that's not bad. I got the 23.
23. I think that is enough. It's definitely enough, but let's see. You do take half damage nonetheless, though. And as you swing into him, the reason that you actually do miss is because this ungodly horror of voices absolutely erupts into what sounds like the screaming of 1,000 banshees. You just feel like your head is about to explode as you're able to at least collect yourself and not take brunt of the damage, but you do take half of...
Oh, God.
10 damage.
Wow.
Guy takes a knee.
You drop to the ground, holding your ears. You're just doing anything that you possibly can to get the sound of these people dying over and over again in what can only sound like the most horrible way, and there's no escaping it. You fall to the ground just overcome by that sheer horror. Ishmark does everything that he can too. He's not quite as bad off as you. He yells through the kind of screams of death to you, Gaia, that we need to get out of here. He's too strong. And it's still technically your turn. You still have your movement. And he says, "This is only a fraction of the power he could have given you, but you spat in his face."
I don't think there's anywhere she can move. She moves to attack, generate.
And
attack
he actually rears down on the horse and just stares at you, like just despicably, like he's disgusted in your very choice that you made. He doesn't look like he's being offensive. It was more just like a warning shot of what would happen if you try to fight him.
I would very defiantly, with all the strength that she can muster, just bring herself back up to stand and stare him just cold dead in the eye. Because if she moves away, she attack of opportunity, and she's only at 1 hit point, so it's kind of a...
Yeah.
There's nothing more she can do other than stand there and just try to bluff her way out.
Your call, but from the stance that he's taken right now, it does not look like he will hit you. Like, it looks like he almost doesn't even have enough respect to finish you off.
She'd look over at Ishmark and just like, yeah, let's run. And she's going to make her way towards Dirge as far as she can, probably there-ish, 35 feet.
All right. Next up, and yeah, the elf does not do anything. He just stares at you, disgusted in the choice that you have made. He says, "Run. There is nowhere you can go that can escape my master's eyes. Your choice will not be forgotten."
Oh,
The druids then turn, continuing to chant. You feel the very earth start to rumble as the ones, or I guess most of them run away. That's true. So they just full-on bolt up to the big-ass tree. Dragar, you would at least get an opportunity to attack on one of these guys, I'll say. The one that you hit with the hammer. You recognize him by the big bump on his head. You bop him again with your warhammer for a total of 8 damage. And were you standing right beside them, Rion, or I can't remember. Were you a distance away?
Sorry, I hate
Yes,
mute.
I was.
Did I take
But
rage
I
on
would
the
not.
opportunity attack?
Yeah, I counted it in. I took the 6 and this 2.
Okay.
What are you saying, Rion?
I would not attack them.
Okay.
Because I believe, isn't it when you damage them, they get knocked out of the fear? Like, I'm trying to read it really fast.
I don't think it does. Maybe.
I think they have to. I think with fear, they have to
well.
run until they can't see you.
Yeah, and they get to make a wisdom saving throw at the end of it. So
So damage
Alright.
doesn't break it. No.
I'm still not going to attack them. I'm just going to let them run.
You see the one on top of Elver, though. As the rest of them have kind of made their way, it becomes apparent what they were doing, and it was stabbing him as many times as they possibly could. The one now on top of him has him pinned, one hand by the throat, one hand dagger in hand, and you just see poor Alvar in his hybrid form just sitting there, gashes cut and blood deeply pouring over all of the feathers that he has. And then one final strike, the druid stabs it right into the creature's neck, and he kind of goes limp. And then as that happens, the ground absolutely rumbles, and you see the roots that were holding this 50-foot tall effigy of this vampire figure start to wither and climb up the statue and start to encase it. Something terribly wrong seems to be happening right now. The ravens, seeing this, a couple will transform into hybrid form and pick up Adrian and just basically drag him away out of the battle and kind of over the rocks. They struggle to get him out, but they look like they're trying to drag him away. And the berserkers all just stop raging at this point and standing, and they all drop their weapons and fall to a knee and bow down before this statue with the withering kind of tree or roots starting to encase it. Dragar, you're now up.
Dragar would look to Dirge, and then he would look over to Ishmar, or Ishmar just hanging out like in the midst of all of these crazy guys, and knowing Rion was basically close to him, he would everybody's running. I would run up. I'm 15 to 20 feet away from the druid that just killed our friend, so I'm gonna try to kill her. And I believe that would hurt a lot. So 22 damage.
Yeah, you're able to at least finish off that guy in one single blow.
And then I would look to Rion and I would say maybe we should meet up with the girls, and I would back off. I can't move anymore, so I guess that would be the end of my turn.
Yeah, you get the sense that some real bad shit is about to happen. Rion, you're now up. None of your enemies are now interacting. The ones that are fear are still fear. The ones that were chanting, the druids, give out one last cry as they drop to the ground. They hail their arms in the air and just cry out, "Winter Splinter!"
Yeah, I'm going to look at Dragar and be like, we need to book it now. And I'm going to move and then dash, use my action to dash to, like, just book it out of there. So I'm running.
All right. You basically get to the outskirts of the pit. You see Gaia slightly behind you, basically in not too far away, as you both seem to be deciding the same thing.
And I'm guessing she's extremely bloodied at this point. Like,
yeah, she probably looks pretty damn mangled.
Yeah, you might be.
Then
He'd probably be surprised that she's standing.
I'm gonna wait there for her and kind of outstretch a hand, and basically gonna try to help her and then heal her along the way. But she has to get to me first.
All right. Dirge, you are now up. You hear the earth from the hill rumbling. As you look back, you see the stone walls are starting to tremor, and some of these rocks that have been deeply embedded inside of each other start to like fall away, like an earthquake or something is happening.
Okay.
Baby Luanda starts to cry even worse now.
Yeah, Dirge is running away full speed. She tries to make a really funny face at the baby to calm it down. As she does so, she runs however far 60 feet is, but as far away as she can.
Ishmark will look to this elf and say, "I don't know who you are, but you will not get away with this massacre." And also says, "We'll meet again another day," and books it. Basically, a couple, like 10-ish feet behind Gaia. Dragar, you're seeing all your friends start to book it. The elf, just kind of now seeing you guys all flee, just smiles to himself, and you hear him calling out, "Yes, run, run where you can. You will never escape my master's gaze. You will never escape his wrath." Gaia.
Hobble, 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 hobble.
Get to Rion, who I believe had a ready to action for you.
Awesome, awesome.
I couldn't do anything at that point because I was moving. I had dashed and then
Oh, yep,
or moved
correct.
and then dashed.
Yeah, so he doesn't have a ready to action for you.
She would happily take his assistance and whatnot, and just like moving along because she's just barely keeping it in, and she's comes in, she'll even just kind of wave a hand about herself and cast cure wounds on herself.
Since we're all kind of like run out of combat now, or I guess Dragar we still have to address. You guys are just gonna obviously continue fleeing, no shenanigans.
Yeah.
Dragar,
No, we got the baby.
the dead earth beneath you starts to separate a bit, and you see these dark, deep roots, thick and almost worm-like, start to wither around the ground. As you look back, it becomes very apparent that this big black tree on the very peak of this hill, even though considerably far away, this has to be the roots of this tree, and it's just withering like a herd of snakes towards this statue made of wooden twigs and dark black clay, and it's starting to encase all around this 50-foot tall effigy. Shit's looking pretty messed up, to say the least. What is Dragar doing?
Would there be any... Would Dragar be able to sense any way of killing the tree or hurting the tree would stop this? Is there any way can I do something?
The tree is very far away from you still at this point, roughly 100, 200, roughly around 300 to maybe 250 feet away from you. You can just see it as like this omnipotent force that just sits on top of the hill, seemingly looking down on everything, towering like this dark, evil creature. You almost get the sense that it is taking pleasure in your horror, but you have no clue whether or not going there would be beneficial, and you can give me an insight.
Alright, I think I already know what I'm going to do, but I'll give you that insight anyway for the fun of it.
You know that separating yourself from the group and basically being at the mercy of all these creatures and this elf that absolutely wrecked house on Gaia, putting yourself on a 1v that many situation is probably a pretty poor choice. And that sticking with the group probably the safer route.
That's too bad.
And you remember that you're playing the Curse of Strahd campaign, where mercy is not a gift that you ever receive.
That tree needs to die. Fuck.
Give me a quick perception too.
All right.
You have to be pretty decent, but
You're gonna make this even scarier, aren't you?
yeah.
Huh?
Not good enough. Sorry. You just see the roots starting to basically
Where's
envelop.
this effigy? Is the statue is basically beside me, right? Because I just killed that druid that was
Yeah,
on top of.
you're pretty dang close upon it, and you just see roots upon roots, big, thick, like even some of them as big as 15 foot in diameter, wrapping itself around this effigy.
And what's the effigy made out of?
Wood, twigs, clay, dirt. You don't really know, but most of it seems to be that.
I would like Jagger would like to try to smash the effigy apart. I know he's only working on one leg at a time, but if I can smash one leg at a time before the roots get to it, maybe I have a chance to knock it down.
All right, it's 50 feet tall, and go ahead.
It's probably pretty huge, yeah. Jagger
Oh
would
yeah.
look around. Jagger would look around, and his friends are pretty far away now at this point.
Yep.
Fuck. For the sake of the group, he's gonna turn back towards the group and he's gonna. Damn it! What is he gonna do? Yeah, I guess I can't take too long. I'm gonna look at the elf. I'm gonna look at the statue. I'm gonna look at the tree. I'm gonna look at all the beasts running around in fear. I'm gonna look at my friends, and I'm going to go back to the group.
As you run away, the elf makes eye contact with you. He says to you, Dragar, "My name is Rahadin. Make sure you soon don't forget it. Now flee, you coward."
Well, I'll be able to justify this tomorrow, maybe.
And yeah, so you turn tail too.
Yeah, I do.
Smart choice. Rahadin.
Even though I'm a barbarian, I'm an old soldier. I know when to fucking.
Yeah,
fight
you
nowadays.
know that it is heavily stacked against you, and now that everyone is running away and no one is doing anything, you guys start to make your way down the hill. You nonetheless see this 50-foot tall statue still kind of towering above. Everyone give a perception check. That is, besides Dirge, maybe at disadvantage since you're so far ahead. Dragar definitely sees it. Toppin, Gaia, and Rion. Are you making Rion definitely sees it. And Gaia even sees it. The statue, now basically completely covered by these dark tree-like roots, they eventually stop withering like the snakes that they are, just basically strangling this creature. And as they sit forth or still for a moment, you hear a gigantic roar burst from the source of that statue, and suddenly these red glowing eyes emerge, and you see a very humongous tree-like creature, hideous fangs, 50 feet tall, towering in that circle, which you can only assume to be Winter Splinter, has now been summoned. And I'm assuming everyone's going to continue running from that shit?
Oh, guys, like, well, I suppose I have my second wind. But I'd be okay with running. We got the baby.
Yeah, Jared keeps freaking running.
I would heal Gaia to keep her from bleeding all over him.
See, as like guys trying to walk away, there's also the or she's saying, well, if we don't deal with it today, we'll have to deal with it tomorrow. If it doesn't kill us in the night. That's kind of how she's looking at it. And thank you, Rion. Thank you.
And would say, you are in no shape to deal with this thing. at all at this point. You need rest.
I would very much agree. I'm 100%. Realistically, I have a feeling that just because we run away from it, it doesn't mean it's going away. Let's go. Let's go. Yes. Let's get that baby to safety and we can rest up or something.
Dragar would make sure his friends all get to the mounts safely, and then he would still just absolutely infuriated would go with them to make the baby safe.
And everyone comes down to the bottom of the hill with Dirge already having the mounts presumably ready, I would assume. Dirge in the distance, you can see in that pit a moving ginormous creature. Where the statue once stood is now a very much alive monster, some kind of hulking creature.
She would be pretty terrified, maybe not so much for herself, but for what would have happened to the baby. And she says, all right, guys, I know I couldn't help you, but at least I got the baby. And she would kind of gesture for everyone to hop on the horses and dart out of here.
Yeah, and Guy would be so grateful, just like, you did very good. Very, very good.
Before they left, Dragar would be just so infuriated he would smash his warhammer as possibly hard as he could against the ground, and if it was a rock stone ground, hopefully it would smash or break or something, just out of pure frustration. And then he'd leave.
Does smash, and several bolts of lightning strike behind you to make it that much more amplifying the amount of rage that Dragar has right now, and you guys are able to ride off into the distance. Where are we wanting to ride to?
Back to camp to get Yolanda to safety, of course.
Yeah. And as they're riding off, I'm guessing Gaia would have to get on Dirge's mount because she didn't bring a mill.
Yeah, and she's like, I ain't gonna shift or anything.
And she kind of turns around and smiles and says, well, I guess your premonition was a lie.
Thank the gods. Thank Pelo. That was really tough, and there's no way that Strahd will ever get me to his side. No way at all.
All right.
Jeez. Yep.
Are we heading back to the winery?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So you guys are able to make a very good pace with the horses, unless you're not trying to. I'm assuming you want to be pretty quick. Ignore all this old combat stuff. None of this is there. You trot up into the winery with as much speed as you probably could get out of the horses. Taking not that much time for you, maybe like an hour ride, or probably less than that. It wasn't that far of a ride in the first place. You come upon Davian just like anxiously with wife Claudia and daughter Stefani, daughter-in-law, anxiously waiting at the end of the road. Davian comes running out, and he yells, do you have Yolanda? The ravens, they came and gave us word that you made it out alive. Is she safe?
And Dirge would nod, showing them the child that's still cradled in her arm.
He would run with the Claudia and Stefani also running towards you and quickly embracing the baby as quick as they could, getting it back into their own arms. He then
Jared would immediately get off a horse and search for something to smash. He still has a little bit of rage to get out.
Absolutely, you go to smashing old dead trees that so many exist in the Salovich woods. It's not hard for you to go to the tree line and smash things angrily. Temporary joy is taken over by the Martikovs as they get to their daughter back in their hands, someone they thought they would never see again. The two girls are in tears. Davian holding back what he could to keep calm. Kind of registers over him that you are maybe a couple members short. He looks and says, What of my two boys, Adrian, Elver? Where are they? The ravens, they were not with the ravens. Tell me what happened.
Sadly, they bravely sacrificed their lives to save Yolanda.
It was because that they went in to help that Dodge was able to get out of there safely with Yolanda.
And with that, he at that point it's his breaking point. He can't contain his tears, and he drops to his ground too, and he says, both of them gone."
Dirge would kind of pipe up. Just out of character, I thought that one of them survived because he got pulled away by his.
Yeah, one of them you
swarm.
presume got pulled aside by the ravens, but you didn't see them actually escape. You just seen them in the process of escaping.
Dirge would correct that, and she would say, "We saw one die, but the other was pulled away by his raven associates. I don't know if he made it."
He would obviously ask you which one, to which you would tell him, Adrian. He would take in the fact that his son Elver gave his life to save Yolanda. He would tell you that it should have been him there. Elver was just a young boy. He had so much promise. Why couldn't it have been me? Slams his fist into the ground. A little bit of mud splashes up.
This is Yolanda's father speaking, right?
This is grandfather.
Grandfather.
Adrian is actually the father, the oldest brother, and Elver was the youngest of sons to Davian. He would ask you then, like, what happened there? Like, what were they trying to do?
They summoned a giant tree monster. Guy, you know what they were saying, right? They were chanting something.
Winter something.
Winter Splinter?
Splinter, there we go. Yep. Winter Splinter. I don't know if that means anything, but they managed to summon this tree monster from utilizing that black and evil tree up the hill. I presume that this will be something that we will also have to take care of, but we are in no condition at the moment to put up such a fight.
Yeah, seeing how badly beaten you guys are now, he would escort you guys all inside, and like whoever needs kind of first aid. The one, Stefani, the mother to Yolanda, is obviously busy cradling her daughter, but Claudia, the wife to Davian, will start basically applying first aid and kind of bandaging up whoever needs it the most.
Gregor walked away unscathed, so he's still in the bushes smashing shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dirge would kind of hop off the mount and help Gaia off the mount. And as she does so, you'd see her hand would glow, and Gaia would recover 25 hit points as she would lay on hands to her friends.
25? Oh man, she sounded like, damn, I feel good.
Nice.
It was only through your guys' help that I could retrieve the child. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, you did very good, Dirge. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Just glad that what I saw did not come to pass. Or at least, did not follow through.
Davian would nod and say, but it does not sound like the horrors are over. That name you spoke, it sounds like something I've heard before. You see, my people, we've been watching these druids for some time, trying to figure out what they're doing at Yester Hill, stopping the assaults that they do on our winery. We only assumed that someone got some music. Yeah, we could only assume that they were just trying to damage the winery and attack us. But one of my men, they came upon an old rooted book speaking of horrible spells that for the most part we could not comprehend, but one reoccurring thing we did read was this Winter Splinter, an entity of dark, ominous power, a giant blight that only seeks to devour the world. It spoke of this creature over and over again like a god, something about a Gythus tree needing to power it, but a ritual I didn't understand at the time, but it all makes sense now. And he just kind of like hangs his head. Clearly, this winter splinter is coming for all of Barovia. Another ploy of Strahd. Surely.
I don't. What should we do? I don't understand. I mean, if it's a god, we can't fight it. But I mean, it seems to have a mortal body, doesn't it?
He would say yes. Surely, surely there is a way that it gets its power.
Do you still have that book?
Yes, I do. Would you like to see it?
Yes, we do have a druid amongst us. Maybe she can read
He runs
the book and
quickly
make sense of it.
out of the room, and he brings out this old book that it literally looks like vines kind of all withered around it. It has this thick leather that almost feels like bark, and in the center of it is what looks like the skull of some small, almost alien-looking humanoid skull. Much too small to be an adult, but it doesn't necessarily look like a human of any kind, and it's just kind of embedded into the casing, the binding of the book on the front cover. He hands it to you, Gaia. We cannot speak this language. It's so bizarre to us. We only could grasp a couple words.
Guy would look through it, just like kind of skim a page or two, just to see if she does understand it.
And do a check, whatever you reason. You tell me what check you want to do, and I'll determine what information you pertain.
Well, it's a 7.
Okay. You determine that these are definitely written in an old Druidic that is even beyond, maybe for whatever reason, isn't completely translating over to you. You would need some time to study the book to give its true nature, but you do know with time that you could definitely read it. It's just like a kind of like a different, what's the word I'm looking for, variation of your Druidic language, something that is not common that you already know. Maybe it's coupled with the fact that you're starting to become in tune with nature. For whatever reason, you're struggling to read it. It'll take more time to make sense of all of this dark writings, although it is very clear that this book is very dark in intent. It speaks of an old master that is darker than the night and immortal. He would come to a land and swallow it in mist and basically rule over the land, controlling all weather and life, and that this mastermind should always be, or this god of the realm should always be paid homage to, and that if you do pay homage to him, he can give you great powers and abilities is basically the first thing that you're able to make, but the spells itself, you're having a hard time reading.
Okay, she'd do her best to just kind of point out some of that stuff. It's like, so say,
You factor in that with a short rest, you'd be able to start reading it. A long rest, you'd be able to understand it.
Yeah, so like as she's kind of looking through, it's like she'll start massaging her forehead, just like, let me. I need to rest, but maybe when I am feeling at my fullest, I'll be able to finish this. But my head is starting to hurt and eyes are crossing. But we'll probably want to make sure that there's some kind of watch set, because if that creature is roaming about now, it could come here for all we know.
I'm pretty sure it's kind of obvious where it's going. Like, can we still see it from the background, like from where we are, or?
No, there's a big line of forest in between you and the hill.
It's a massive giant, basically. I'm pretty sure we could see that coming pretty far away.
You doubt you'd be able to sneak up on him.
Yes, if we can see it from a distance, but if we all go to sleep, then who sees it?
There are a lot of members of this family still left, aren't there?
There is Davian, Claudia, Stefani, and then two very obviously Yolanda, and one other like small, almost infant toddler member. He says that he can send out a messenger to get. He keeps on saying more of his men to come here and help, though.
I would love to stay up and watch, but if your associates can help us stand watch, so we may rest properly, that would be even better.
Yeah, that's basically what guys trying to get across is that it is important for us to rest, but we should make sure at least someone's up to keep an eye on things.
Yeah, he'll say that you guys have been through a lot. You look like you need rest. Leave it to my men. I will send a messenger right away, and he'll go to the fermentation room where you noticed a lot of those ravens kind of before when you were battling off the twigs are still there, and he calls one down, and what you could only describe as speaking like bird language chirps into this creature's ear, and it flies away. And he says, I'll have as many men as I can get here as soon as possible. What's everybody else doing?
Dragar would be sitting outside on a log now, frustrated with his hammer at his feet. His feet not actually touching the ground, kind of swinging because of how short he is, and he's frustrated. And he's keeping a lookout. He's not very tired. He's still angry. He's thinking, but he's content in where he is.
Guy and Sam would go join him just to be outside, and she'd kind of lay down next to the log, like a grassy section, just and let Dragon know that it's like, take care, you're up out there, you were fierce, and that is what's kept me alive.
Yeah, and if Gaia was actually gonna lay down and rest beside Dragar, that would mean a lot to Dragar. He would feel that would change his attitude a little bit on the inside. It would make him very proud to be her friend.
Yeah, no, right now she really wants to be out in nature. She's like, I just had a beating and I'm feeling a lot better. Like, I feel great, but I am exhausted at the same time. And
you would feel like her protector, and he would feel very happy about it.
Oh yeah, she's very, very grateful. Like, everyone really played a role, and she had something she had to write from that awful vision she had. Like, no, no, don't let the baby die. And everyone did good. Oh, high fives all around. I'm just gonna go lay here, and yeah.
And what is Rion and or Dirge doing?
What time of day is it?
Coming upon evening at this point. Maybe still like late afternoon, we'll say.
Okay. I think Rion just probably sit around playing his Kodo, kind of like trying to ease the family because of their loss. And then once it starts to get towards night, he would turn in.
All right. Anyone looking to the sky would see that the dark clouds still hang over Yester Hill, where you guys just currently were moments or hours before. You would also notice that the storm clouds slowly but surely seem to be making their way in your direction.
Yeah, Dirge would kind of go to Yolanda and the mother, and she would ask, is there anything I can do to help you? I know that last time we left your baby unattended and it was kidnapped. Perhaps one of us should stand watch with it.
She would kind of gracefully say to you, you've already done so much for us, but yes, I would like that very much you stood near. You don't have to stay awake the whole time, but just having you closer, it makes us feel better.
And Dirge would play like soft melodies with her harp, trying to put them at ease as well, before she would eventually go off to sleep. But before she would, she'd make sure that they have somebody in the room with them to be awake at all times.
Someone at all times watching the child, and yeah, you see a couple. Well, it's probably pretty obvious at this point. Were ravens start to show up, and you have about maybe 2 or 3 that make their way around and start to set up a perimeter in defense. If Dirge ever was tired, one of them would step in and say that they would watch the Yolanda.
Yeah, I mean, eventually Dirge would just go to sleep, but while she's resting, they could watch for her.
Okay. And before we end the night, Gaia, are you studying the book or just have it on you?
It would be on a person, but now gonna yeah she check it out after writing, and so like when she went to join Dragar outside, like even though it was like early evening setting in, and out there she'd kind of mention or like just small chit chat, giving her mentioning her thanks and admiring that his bravery, and as the clouds start to kind of collect more towards them, she's just kind of lost in thought, and she'd just admiring the beauty, because for her storm clouds is a very comforting thing, even though at the same time it's haunting, and she'd probably just kind of drift off unless Dragar is like, hey, let's go in for the night, and because she really enjoys being outside too, even if it's dangerous.
Okay. And before I let everyone fall asleep, everyone can give me an insight.
17.
Okay, 17 so far, the highest. I'll just 17 is the highest. So Gaia, as you're kind of observing these haunting clouds, trying to find some peace in it, maybe doing, maybe not after the horrors that you just faced, it kind of hits you that even a tremendously slow-moving creature, it wouldn't take an immediate amount of time. Like, you're not super far from the hill, is basically. So if it was coming for you, it wouldn't take days. It would probably take more along the lines of hours to make its way here.
Okay, so I'm guessing is with this hint at her being unnerved by the fact that it had not shown up yet?
Maybe not unnerved, but you would get the sense that if it is going to be coming for you guys, it will probably at the very latest make its way there by nighttime, like late night.
Okay, then I would imagine that plays in a lot too, because I was already having her kind of assume something like that.
That's why guys gave you the insight.
But yeah, yeah, I guess then with that, eventually she finally kind of stumbles back into the place, and everyone probably having finished supper thing or gathered around, and she just kind of she's like, I have this feeling that this creature will be here soon. I'm not exactly sure when, but we should prepare or be prepared.
And Dragar would look at her, and Dragar says we need to destroy that tree.
Indeed we shall, Dragar. But we also need to take care of our health. If anything, let's all try to get a quick rest in. But sleep light. Keep one eye open. There's danger about.
Mm-hmm. You also, with a 17, would know that if there was potentially some chance to fighting such a creature, maybe understanding it wouldn't hurt.
I should go take a look at this book and read. Okay. You rested for a little bit outside. Let's go study.
All right. So give me another check, and see how much leverage you get. You're gonna have advantage now that you've been studying it for a while.
Oh gosh. Okay, we'll take the 12. That's at least a lot better.
All right. So yeah, this is nonetheless, maybe it's the unnerving kind of eminence of this creature, whether it's coming or not, or if it's not coming, where is it gonna go? Like what horrors could that thing unleash? You're having a hard time focusing. Nonetheless, you understand the most basic principles of such a ceremony, that obviously life is needed to be given to bring the creature to life, but something else is needed to sustain. Like just killing someone, you get the sense, would just bring it to life momentarily, not strong enough to keep it sustained. It would need some kind of maybe strong magical energy to keep such a horrible creature and a huge creature alive.
Would it make sense for her to link it to that ominous tree that she's seen in her visions and that she saw up there at Easter
Um,
Or is that like way off left field? Like no.
can give another check, whether you're just tell me what you either insight or whatever you're trying to do, and I'll tell you. Insights 18.
21.
21. Okay. Yeah, you sense that although the tree itself probably has something to do with it, something even more powerful and magical directly is needed to sustain this creature. You would at this point probably suspect that that tree is maybe almost like the source of these creatures being born, but not powerful enough to animate such a creature, such a huge creature, to life on its own, especially if it were to like put distance between it. It would need something more directly powerful.
I'm not exactly sure if my head's just being too tired to really point this together, but the only other thought that comes to mind is the elf being behind the source, or the druids that were dancing about it.
And I'm assuming you're talking to everybody else about your findings, or are you just off on your own?
No, she would totally be counseling with the others. This is something that she would not be trying to, especially like with her intelligence checks, where it's like she's having a hard time focusing. It's like, okay, this is something important that we need to figure out, but for whatever reason, I'm not connecting the dots. So, Durj, Rion, Drega, and she kind of be mulling over these thoughts and what she has gathered and kind of what she suspects.
So yeah, everybody else has the same information as Gaia then, that the ritual needs a life to bring the creature to life, but something powerful would be needed to sustain it. Does anybody else have any crazy ideas?
Dragar thinks there must be something on or inside the beast that keeps it going.
I suppose it was the take form of that one statue thing, right?
I'm gonna go and grab. Oh crap! I forget his name. The old man of
Fabian.
all these. Yes, I'm gonna ask him. Who the hell are you people? Why are you all of a sudden turning into these ravens? It was a little hectic earlier, and we were trying to save the child. But now that things have settled, who are you people? Why? Like, how can you turn into these ravens? Aren't you just a normal human?
He sighs and says, I'm afraid not, my friend. Normal is not the word for us. Perhaps cursed is how I would describe it. You see, my generation, the Martikovs, and the generation before me, and before me, as far as our family line knows, have been cursed with lycanthrope. We are were-ravens. We've been stuck in this land for many centuries, at the mercy of Strahd, just like everybody else. Although some view this as a curse, it is also a potential power, and we do what we can to use the power to oppose him, but it is not enough. We have formed an organization that I call the Keeper of the Feather, and we work in secret and do what we can to relieve the horrors that Strahd opposes on the land. This winery is one of the ways that we do it, but it just doesn't seem to be enough. We anxiously await for someone, multiples, maybe a group like yourself that is even stronger than us. We've tried to help other adventurers that come here before, but most of them either overcome by greed, give in to Strahd, or simply perish and disappear. I know it might be a little unsettling to see such a creature as us, but I promise you, we are your allies if you're an enemy of Strahd.
So, why did the druids take the child? Is there something special about her?
And he thinks and says, I do not know, maybe Strahd's way of just torturing us even further. I do not know why they are obviously trying to sacrifice her. How is your friend making out with the book? You understand that I am not in this kind of arcane attunement like her. I do not understand the language. I thought these creatures were just feral beasts that seek to just wreak havoc. I did not even know they were simply capable of anything but destruction, let alone planning.
Well, I think we did find an elf. He gave us his name, but I wasn't really paying attention. I think Dragar knows it a little bit more than I do. But I think, are you in the room with me and him, or?
Yeah, it would be at this point. Gaia would be conversing with all of us over the book.
Well, I took the old man off to the side.
Okay.
So I don't know if
you can call him over.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that, and he can say the name.
Dragar says Rahadin was the name of the elf that we met.
Yes, I know the name very well. My spies have tried to keep an eye on him, but he is usually deep in the castle walls of Ravenloft, and those that do come across him don't normally live to tell the tale. He is Strahd's chamberlain, a servant of Strahd for many generations, and even before Strahd became what he was, a servant of his family. When King Barov passed away and Queen Ravenloft, he stuck around at the castle and continued his servitude towards Strahd. He is an obedient, yet a very foul and evil man. He has killed and slaughtered many, even his own kind, to be at service of Strahd.
Gaia mentioned something about this creature is going to need magic to keep going. Powerful magic.
What kind of magic you speak of?
She just said powerful magic. What kind of magic? I'm not sure.
He would look to you and say, could it be the seed? The seed of life they stole? One of the three. You remember I spoke to you about it before. They recently robbed the last one of the winery, what gives the source of life, and lets plant life grow here in this land. They stole the last one.
If that's the case, then why is it heading? Well, never mind. Okay. So I guess that's what we need to do, is try to remove that seed off from the creature.
It is a very powerful object. Anything that can make life in this cursed land would need to be enormously magical.
Tell me, do you have any wine left?
Yes, I do.
We might need it. You see, the thing was made of mostly wood. It did have, dirt and rocks and stuff in it, but it was made of mostly wood. And wine, I think wine would go nicely with it.
When you first say that you need wine, he would nod and like instantly agree, and he'd actually reach behind and take a big gulp of it and say, "Yes, wine. Oh, yes. There's. How much do you need? We don't have much. A few caskets that we were going to deliver tomorrow or today, but before this horrible incident happened, and then we have a couple bottles in the cellar. But if you think this creature is coming for us, then yes, I guess it is more important that we. What do you wish to use it as flame against the creature?
Um, yes.
Take what you will. If it's coming for here and it's as horrible and as big as you explain it to be, we'll surely need your help to defend this.
Can you send your I guess the women and children away? Is there a safe place where they can away from here? Because them being here is not a good situation.
He would say that maybe Krezix, the city just north of here, would take them in, but he does not feel comfortable sending just the women alone on the journey. It's still a bit of a journey, and the woods are treacherous. But yes, I agree that they should not be here. He would kind of look to you, and you get the sense that he wants to go with his wife and grandchildren and stuff, but he doesn't at the same time want to abandon. So he's just kind of like looking to you to see what you suggest.
How old is he? Like, is he like
Old?
okay?
Definitely like graying and.
Well, if you think someone should go with them, then I think you should go with them.
Mm-hmm. He would just say that walking the forest by yourselves or not defendable is maybe, and he's just like he looks frustrated because he wants to be a bigger help, but he doesn't know how much of a help he can be.
What you could do is when you get there, try to rally some men to come and help.
Yes.
Hopefully we can still be alive when they get here, but
with that he would say that the Krezix and Martikov family fell out a couple centuries ago, but I've heard that Dmitri, he is an understanding burgomaster. Hopefully having us supply wine for many years will be enough to let him in and help my family. Like many years ago, we used to serve each other. And he'll say, I will do what I can to rally whatever men they have there and send them this way. And then he's just looking at you like dumbfounded, like, should I leave now? Should I?
Yeah. In that case, I think you should probably get going now, so that way they can get here sooner than later.
And everybody hears the kind of, or I guess Rion is able to go back to the group and tell them that maybe this seed of life, this green, almost football-sized gem, 3 of them that were stolen over the decades, the third one and last stolen most recently by what he thought to be the Druids, could be a potential source for a creature because it's able to give life to this land where life is normally not given. Everyone hears that information. What's Dirge doing?
Dirge is just contemplating all this. It's a lot of stuff to take in. Obviously, we have to try to get the seed back, but it's kind of quite the endeavor. Do you think we could fight it if we had a proper rest? Perhaps the creature's not at full strength yet? I don't know.
I'll give Gaia one more chance to read the book and see if she can pick off any more information about it.
What does a 15 give her?
A 15 is enough to probably learn.
And obviously, Rion is in the background playing beautiful music, just kind of like, oh, I feel very inspired. Like, maybe I can understand this. Wink, wink,
Yeah.
nudge, nudge.
If only he was
actually
playing an
do have-
inspiring tune.
I do have one bardic inspiration left. So
Yeah,
that's kinda
15,
crazy.
15's enough to, if you want to give it to her, I'm not going to say that 15's enough to discern everything, but it's enough to discern a big chunk, so it's up to you.
Then yeah,
It
she
would
can
give
have
an extra 4 for a 19.
Alright, so that's enough to pretty much understand most of the book that you'll need to. And basically, it speaks of an ancient tree that is basically like a mother tree of darkness. Galuthus is how I'm going to pronounce it, but that's probably wrong. Someone can correct me as I type it in the chat, because I have no clue.
Galuthias.
Galuthias.
No, actually, no, that's not right.
Is an
Galuthais?
kind of
Galuthais?
evil
That's
tree that basically at one point was
Ghoul
a relic of druidic nature that is said to give life, but eventually through some kind of means has become cursed and basically produces horrible entities known as blights. Obviously, as this creature, as this tree exists, it can always produce these blights. But then, as you understand that definitely the Galuthus or Galuthias tree is the cause of what is birthing these blights, Winter Splinter is a ceremony that is needed to be some kind of ritual where a life needs to be given and a great energy of life needs to be implanted into basically a construct which can then release a horrible creature upon the land known as Winter Splinter. And this creature, you see now behind the ritual that it's not necessarily godly. It's just more their lore and legend. You understand that it's not an immortal creature that can't be defeated, but definitely powerful nonetheless. And I'm just trying to figure out if I want to give what else I can give you after rolling that high. Give me a second here.
its stats and AC and hit points and all that would be nice.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that though. You would know that it is a vicious carnivore that wants to just devour what it can. It'll be drawn to whatever life is nearest to it. And then that obviously whatever magical life object is summoning it to existence, if that could be separated from it, the creature wouldn't have much energy to live much longer. So you at least know its weakness. Although factoring in that it's a 20 or 50-foot hulking creature, finding where this seed might be obviously will be a challenge in its own. Full resting, you would assume that with the help of the ravens, you would have a chance. If you don't get a full rest in, though, it'll just basically be how combat effective you guys are. It's not an unwinnable fight.
Alright. Then George would ask if the ravens can distract the tree or slow it down enough for us to have a rest. Since it goes after life, perhaps they could redirect it temporarily until we have enough time to rest.
They look at you and they kind of get the sense like you're basically asking them to sacrifice their life. They don't you just want them to go fight it until you rest.
Just
lead it around.
You're ravens. You can fly. You can get it to chase you and then fly away. I know.
And then come back in a little bit so that we can fight it. Just enough time for us to rest. Take the longer route.
And they say that if that's what you think is best, we will try to cut it off and lure it away. How long do you need?
You need a proper long rest. At least,
As time's going by. Guy has been spending a considerable amount of time studying this book anyways, so you're about 4 hours into a rest anyways. Nighttime has definitely befallen on the Wizard of Wines. You hear the rolling of thunder and the occasional flash of lightning from the south, where obviously Yester Hill is.
We need 6 hours to get most effects of a long rest. Technically 8 though. So I don't know, 4 hours. I don't know how far away it is.
Yeah, they agree to like fly out and cut it off and try to distract it there.
Okay.
All right. So you guys are gonna try for the long rest then?
Yeah.
I will see how successful they are in doing their chore. Okay. How are you doing? Any kind of watches or anything, or just straight up resting? Because all three of them are gonna leave at that point then to cut it off.
Dirge would ask the grandfather to stay watch if he can for just a few hours while we're resting.
Drager would lay on the floor as to want to hear the footsteps or feel the footsteps coming of the giant if he were to get closer.
All right, and just to understand, because I know Rion was telling Davian to leave with women and children, you're asking him to stick around a bit longer?
I think he should leave.
I don't think they should leave either. I don't. I think us fighting this creature is much safer than them trying to go by themselves. And if for some reason we all end up dying, at least they could leave while we're fighting them.
No, I'm saying I think he should leave, not that he shouldn't leave. That's my suggestion, that he should leave with the women.
My suggestion is the opposite. But
So that's a group decision. Davian will look to you guys as kind of like the shot makers. One is saying leave, one is saying stay.
Dragar thinks that if we stay here, the giant might crush Wizard of Wine. If we ask family to stay here, maybe we should meet Beast halfway.
Yeah, you would assume that a creature of this size would have no trouble smashing this, although big winery, small in comparison to this creature.
Dirge would just explain. I just don't feel like we have enough manpower to escort anyone anywhere.
We're not doing any escorting. The women and the old man's going to go off and get us help from the neighboring city. Hopefully, if we are still alive by then. And I'm sorry, but I'm not in the habit of putting women and children into danger. Must be a paladin thing.
I don't understand this. Why are you raising your voice? I just don't understand. No matter what we do, there's going to be danger. But I feel as if they're under my watch, they have a better chance. But if you wish to personally insult me, then
a guy would have also ruffled her feathers a little bit, just like, it is a paladin's duty to protect. We are not wanting to put these people in danger, my goodness. Rion.
So then it's going to come down to a group decision of whether he stays or goes. Vote.
Should I stay or should I go now?
Dragar votes go as long as it is in opposite direction from where the beast was.
Yeah, it's obviously opposite, exact opposite.
Dragar votes go.
Should I go now?
Gaia.
So it's up to Mary.
Gaia is the tiebreaker. Is you gonna call it a tie or tell them to leave? You get the sense that regardless, a decision can be made. Both sides of the argument are kind of valid. If they stay, they're potentially.
I know, and I'm like, this sucks. I'm such an indecisive person, but I am leaning more that they go.
And then with that, unfortunately, Dirge, you're outnumbered in decisions. So Davian and women and children will pack up on the carriage and draft horse and ride to Krezix, which is north of the Wizard of Wines, leaving you guys with no one really left in the house to stand guard besides the obviously just ravens, which as far as you know are just ravens.
Dragar stand watch. Dragar stand watch.
All right. So everybody else long resting? They're trying to
rotate. Like Dragar doesn't have to stay.
You only need like 4 more hours at this point. You're pretty close to a full long rest. So I will give you guys the benefit of the doubt, and I'll let you full rest. The Ravens rolled pretty decently and distracting. Whoever's on last watch, though, I guess
Dragar did the whole thing.
Dragar. The night kind of dwindles on, and you presume that it's getting close to around sunrise, but the light has not started to come around the horizon yet. It's still darkness. Suddenly, you hear the snapping and falling of what could only be described as a giant tree. A pause. You hear maybe the flapping of creatures just leaving an area, and then suddenly a tremendous, almost earth-shattering or earth-rumbling drag, and then quickly the toppling of several more trees that just echo out in the silent night that you've been waiting for. It is very apparent that Winter Splinter has now arrived.
The Dragar would immediately rush inside the house and wake his friends. The Dragar says Winter Splinter here. We need to go fight. Probably away from buildings so it doesn't end up smashed when I destroy this tall 50 feet bust.
Good. Yes, that's and guys like quick, like just kind of gathering her stuff and Serge, Rayon, let's go. And yeah, she's ready to hopefully destroy stuff.
All right, so are we letting it basically come upon the winery, or are we going to go out and meet it and see where it is?
Dragar is just muting it. Yeah.
All right, so just for map presence, it's not going to really matter.
Before we leave, I'm going to go and collect as many bottles, and I'm actually going to drag Dragar with me and give him as many bottles of wine that we can carry so we can chuck at this thing and like either light it on fire, and I'm explaining this to Dragar as we're collecting the bottles. Either we're going to chuck these onto the creature and light it on fire, or direct it, maybe, and like try to push it in a certain way to where we can, hopefully grab the seeds wherever they may be on its person.
All right, so the creature has basically been making its way straight through the trees, and as you look, you can already see that it's like smashed through a giant portion of the forest and is basically on the outskirts, the tree line of the winery, heading through the vineyard section. It's not quite there yet, but that's where it's obviously looking like it's going to go through. So you have a pretty wide open field with some already visibly drying grapes and vines that look like they're already starting to wither from the lack of their tree or their seed of life being there. It's already apparent that the vineyard is starting to decay away, but in the distance, a good 200 feet away, you see Winter Splinter starting to shatter through the forest and pull away. These giant vine arms start sprouting from everywhere and ripping ginormous trees right out of the ground by the roots and chucking them. You see that the ravens are currently in combat. You can only see in the darkness, or maybe you only hear from that far away. Obviously that they're engaging. You don't really know how well they're doing, but nonetheless, obviously, unless you guys have any last request, initiative. Let me clear the initiative. Lately, Roll20 hasn't been doing that on its own.
Yeah. Just so you know, when I took my long rest, I changed one of my spells.
Okay, makes sense.
Anybody have any idea what page the exhaustion chart is in the player's handbook?
If you type into the compendium, you can just type exhaustion and pull it up, and it'll explain it to you.
Really?
Yeah.
You have the PDF? Like, do you have bookmarks on the side?
Don't need to.
Yeah, but it's the PDF, but it's the actual book.
Exhaustion, level 1, disadvantage on ability checks. Level 2, speed half. Level 3, disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws. Level 4.
What was level 1 and 2, sorry?
Disadvantage on ability checks.
Oh my gosh.
Speed halved.
Okay, thanks. That's all I needed.
Okay.
Whoa. Gaia went and changed her token and everything.
Nice. Maybe she has control over this one? Yeah, she does. Where ravens? Let's pull them out. Or let's not pull them out. I guess I don't have any tokens for them anymore for some reason. I'm just curious.
Go to the old map and copy them over.
Yeah, I was going to. For some reason, they didn't copy over, but that's fine. Da-da. Now, of course, I'm zoomed in all awkwardly. And everybody else roll initiative while we are getting this sorted out. And there we go. Paste, paste, paste. Everybody in?
I don't see my token.
Oh, you should be able to drag it in from your
Oh, I
character.
could just drag it in. Okay.
If not, I can do it for you.
Yeah, you want to do it? Pull it up for me? Oh, there we go. Here's it. Thanks.
This is
I don't know
my.
if I did it or you did it.
This is a different token, but these are all our old tokens, I think, right?
Perhaps, yes.
This is my old token.
All right.
Can we do any buff spells before combat, or are we just jumping straight in?
I'm assuming
can.
you guys would have prepared yourself.
Okay. Then I think I'm going to cast Heroism on Gaia and Dragar. Wait, I think I can target 3, or is it just 1?
What does heroism do again?
You gain temporary hit points at the start of every turn based off of how many my wisdom score, basically.
Cool.
Very.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to cast it at a higher level. Okay. So you gain. Sadly, it's only 3 temporary hit points, but at the start of every of your returns, you gain 3 temporary hit points.
Cool.
Awesome.
So that'll be a little bit of a buffer.
All right, everybody in?
Yeah. Actually, let me roll my initiative, I suppose.
Hey, Derek, you and I, we react similarly.
I'm not last.
Fist
So.
bump.
I'm just at the bottom of the first round now.
Rion, you're able to act first as you hear that this creature is descending upon you guys. And you can obviously see it.
Would we be able to use their horses, by the way?
If you want to.
Okay, George has something specific she wants to do, so that'll help.
I would like to do a perception check to see if I can spot those seeds of life.
Okay. You would remember that only one has been stolen by the Druids.
And I don't see nothing.
Doesn't really matter anyways, you're like pretty far still.
Oh, okay. So how far exactly is it?
It's up to you guys. It's kind of like moving into the vineyard. So are you moving towards it or away from it?
Towards, I believe.
Oh, it.
All right. So then we'll put it, if you guys are moving towards it to cut it off and not let it get into the vineyard, then you're within movement away from it.
Within movement, okay.
Yeah.
I think... I guess for now, I'm just going to move up and chuck some bottles of wine at it.
Okay, go ahead.
But spread out. Like, I kind of want to be spread out from everyone, just in case AoE attacks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want? Like, it's just straight up strength roll, or?
You can do a dex as you're throwing it.
Okay. How many can I throw?
Say 2.
Okay.
Both hit it. Obviously, this creature's massive, so it's not really hard to hit it per se. You don't know how hard it is to damage it, but nonetheless, 2 bottles of wine smash open on top of it, and in comparison to its size, it's merely like a splash on it, but you definitely find your mark.
I'm going to target its right leg, and I'm going to yell at Drager wherever he is and say, I'm throwing wine on its right leg. Giving him that information. And with that, I will go ahead and end my turn, I believe.
Cool. The three were ravens, I'm just going to do their attacks right now. You see them in the sky, just basically whipping in and out, trying to strike the creature with its weapon. One is doing a crossbow. I'm just going to do all three of their attacks right now, just to get that out of the way. And one does this. None of those strikes, as far as you can tell, seem to do any damage to the creature. Dragar, you're able to act next. You see this hulking tree-like creature, red eyes and mouths in the center of its trunk, just fangs everywhere, roots as legs, just kind of all up over the place, ripping through this forest line. It finally breaks way through the tree line and is right upon you guys at this point. You see vines and roots as arms just sprouting from everywhere. This creature is truly horrifying and enormous entity.
Okay, Dragar has just because he's a massive guy. Not really. He's got a huge armful of probably like 3 bottles of wine. Looking at the creature and hearing Rion say that he's throwing wine on the right leg, Dragar would he would instinctively run at the creature using his what's it called? It's called danger sense. I know it's really not that much right now, but it's gonna help a bit. And I'm gonna basically run and I'm gonna just kind of flop all the bottles of wine on the creature's right leg as I do my best to try to ascend the creature's right leg. Considering this creature is monstrous and made out of wood and tree bark and like is a huge trunk, I'm gonna do my best to climb the creature's back of its leg up to its back and try to see if I can get to its back.
So yeah, basically the way that works is you can essentially try to grapple it, and then if you're able to do so, it is treated like a difficult terrain as you try to climb upon it, and then it can obviously try to get you off at any point. So you can try to do a strength save against it, or a grapple check.
If you're raging, you'd have advantage.
I'm not.
You go to climb upon
Yeah,
it, and one of the roots whip across you, and it does everything in your power just to duck and not be swiped away by this creature.
Okay.
You smash the bottles on it, though. I'm assuming is what you're trying to do, or are you trying to?
Yeah, I was trying to do both actions, so I'm glad you were able to allow me to do that.
Yep. Dirge is now up.
Dirge had been prepping the spell beforehand. Nothing special, but I think it has pretty useful use here. As she charges straight up to the creature on her mount, standing maybe 5 feet above the ground a bit, maybe a little more. As she would activate her concentration spell she's been using and detect magic on the creature, attempting to locate the seed of life inside of its body.
Very nice. And so that is, if you cast it as a slot, right, you can just do it instantly. I know normally it's a ritual, but...
Yes, I spent one of my level 1 spell slots. I believe paladins can't cast rituals anymore.
You are easily able to detect that there is a giant source of magic deeply embedded in basically, of course, where the creature's relevant heart would be. So, easily like 40, 50 feet up in the center of its trunk.
Okay. Dirge would call out to her allies. Its heart, its life seed is in the center of its body. By the way, is a picture of it kind of like representative of what it looks like?
Ish, but not really. I couldn't really find anything super relevant. It's just basically a picture of like a giant. Yeah, it's similar enough.
Does it have like a mouth, basically?
Yeah, probably not that big though, but like definitely a mouth.
But the heart would be below the mouth, right?
Sure.
Sure. She would just call out to everybody that inside the center of its body is the heart. I don't know how you could reach it, but it's right there, and she would point to it.
Yeah, and you would think that if you just were to break away parts, it's still made of like tree and bark, so if you were to be able to hack away at it, you'd be able to get to it, and you point it out, and everyone will have advantage at trying to find out exactly where it is if they do get close enough to do so.
Okay. And for her bonus action, she'll cast Shield of Faith on herself.
Cool. So I'm just gonna move you guys. I know we're not just for keeping track. Are you within range of it, Dirge, or?
I'm like literally adjacent to it.
Yep.
She'll go right up next to Dragar.
And Rion kept his distance, but not super up close. He just threw from like, say, 20 feet away.
Yeah, I'd say about 20.
Okay.
But isn't Dragar up on the tree now?
He's trying, but he failed his grapple to get on top of it. Next up is Gaia.
Excellent. So, Gaia, seeing this monstrosity of a tree thing, will start marching up to it, and she's under her breath just calling out to Pela, just like, Pela, please grant me a light so that I might be able to destroy this evil before us. And as she's walking, her right hand short sword, Alton's blade, will start to glow as she casts Sacred Weapon, I believe, upon it. Yep, Sacred Weapon. And so she'll then be able to do some more swipey. And she will be right here next to Dirge.
Alright, go ahead and give it a shot.
I think that's an action for her to cast Sacred Weapon.
Oh, would you have cast it before we fought the thing?
No, it's more when they came up, she would have noted and wanted to try and get full use of the minute.
Alright, you can take a bonus action as an offhand strike, I'll allow it. I know it's not super raw, but I'm okay with it.
Offhanded 22, or
22
I guess it would be 19. I don't think she gets that extra bonus.
Yeah, so 22 is 19 still a hit.
Awesome. So 5 splinter a few pieces of wood away.
Exactly.
Just wait until next turn.
Yeah. The creature groans every time it moves, which just literally echoes this field that you guys find yourself in. It, at this point, reels up some of its branches and begins to just start thwarting at you guys with tremendous power, much like a ginormous tree falling upon you, only with much more speed and power behind it. The first branch whips at a raven from the sky. It thought that it was out of the range, but the branches obviously have more reach than it anticipated, as it one-shots that guy unconscious. Next, it will follow up with another branch attack against another raven, one-shotting that guy unconscious. And next, it will, on Dragar and the last were-raven, roots will start pouring from this thing like an eruption of snakes just billowing out and trying to surround you. Make a... Let me just see what happens if I roll this. No, it's not a make, it's an attack. So this is on Dragar. The roots surround and encase you, completely restraining you, and also on the raven. He's able to dodge that as you have one companion left in the fight. Ishmark, though, charges in.
Is that an attack or a save?
It's an attack.
Well, can I get disadvantage on Dragar?
Sure. So 14 isn't a hit then on you, Dragar, or what?
No, actually, it's not. One point check.
At the last second, Dirge would just leap out and just swat the roots away.
I had already changed my hit points, but thank you very much.
It doesn't hit you until... yeah, it does still hit you. Okay. Ishmark will charge in, letting out a battle cry. This time he's two-handing his longsword. He'll do 2 swipes with it. One hitting, both hitting for 16 damage into this. He starts chopping away the vines and branches of this creature, just waving everywhere, and it basically turns into like these giant bark-like snakes that are just all trying to descend upon you, trying to hit and whack and rap at you. He charges in and starts chopping away at several of them. And next up is Rion.
Okay. I'm going to shoot at. Actually, do I need to shoot at the spots where the wine is to light it on fire, or do you want like torch being thrown, or how do you want that to work?
How are you planning on lighting on fire?
How do I plan on lighting on fire?
Yeah.
Is that what, I would like
Because like
to
obviously a strike with a weapon isn't enough to erupt wine. You would need some kind of flame on it.
Yeah, and I don't have.
Or lightning.
Or lightning.
Don't worry, we're gonna light this thing on fire next round.
Somebody in the party may be able to use lightning. I'm not sure who though.
I know!
Oh, is it Dragar? It's Dragar. That's right.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well,
That lightning is that just.
Oh, that's right.
Overhead.
That's right. No,
Oh,
he essentially
just
brings the
FTLs.
thunder. He brings the thunder. That's right.
shit. Okay.
Thunderclap.
So I guess I'm just gonna shoot this thing. I'm gonna shoot directly at its chest where Dirge pointed out. I need to make a perception check to discern exactly where it is?
If you want to find exactly, yes, you can do so at advantage though.
Okay. Yep. Did I click? There it goes.
Yep, that's enough to pinpoint where Dirge was pointing out. You do see like a faint glow, like a green kind of glow that obviously Davian has explained the aura that these crystals give off.
Actually, can I tell if Dragar is still trying to climb this
Probably looks like he's
creature?
doing that.
Okay, can I shoot 2 bolts to basically give him grapple hold, to maybe give him advantage on his climbing? Like, I'm basically attacking the creature, but I would like to use the bolts for him to like reach up and grab and
Sure, go
start
ahead.
climbing.
Give it a
Alright,
shot.
cool.
12 is a miss, 15 is directly a hit. That's its AC.
Awesome. So he takes 13 piercing.
Okay. Arrow thunks in right above Dragar, giving him kind of at least one thing to hold on to. The creature obviously doesn't look too bad for wear though.
And then, it can't. Used bonus action. Alright, so that'll be me.
Alright, next up is Dead Raven, or Unconscious Raven, Dragar.
Alright, so Dragar, kind of realizing that, it was maybe a mistake to try to climb it all at once there, he looks up and he sees Rion's bolt plunk right in maybe a foot above his head, and he's just like, perfect. And with the roots that the what's the tree creature called?
Winter Splinter.
Once Winter Splinter sends the roots down at Dragar, he basically uses those and the bolt that Rion sent to try again to reclimb the leg of this creature and try to climb up as far as he can on it. So another strength check.
Yep.
I have advantage. So.
You have advantage, 14. Ooh. Against Winter Splinter's mighty 50-foot effigy, he hits just barely, thwacking you off again. I'll give you at least a bonus action swipe, though, as you're not having much luck climbing this creature. It is obviously comparably stronger than you. This creature is 50 feet tall, and as you climb in, you even grab onto the thing. The arrow that Rion has just landed in front of you. You grab 2 hands, and then instantly a branch wraps around your leg and just thuds you off into the ground with force. You just face down in the dirt with mud on your face. You can pick yourself up and do an offhand attack. That is enough to hit it for 9 bludgeoning damage. You smash your hammer into one of the bark roots that are trying to grab you, and you smash it into the ground. It withers and kind of falls away. That leaves it at that. Next up is the only surviving were-raven. Seeing how quickly overpowered they were by just being in close proximity to this creature, he puts himself flying away a good 20 feet, maybe 25, and he loads a hand crossbow and shoots an arrow into the creature, thunking into the side of its wood, or side of this creature's base. The arrow plunges in. Nonetheless, the creature doesn't really seem to notice Winter Splinter. The arrow just plunges in. Next up is Dirge.
Alright, this is a question, maybe a little gamey, but I would like to ask if it's possible. Would I be able to just get into a good position in a grapple against this guy if I were to just Misty Step like right up next to his heart? If I could find a spot to just stand there? Or would I still have to make a grapple check?
You would still have to grapple because, like, even though you detected where it is buried deep inside of this creature. Digging would be required, and even if you were to Misty Step right there, you would need to hold on to something to start digging them.
Okay, well then Dirge will just stand right next to Dragar and use his. You have your pack tactic thing, right, where we get advantage?
Yes, he does.
Alright, Dirge would just stand right next to him and just power up some smites to try to just wail on this tree.
Alright.
Alright.
Wail away. Nice
Alright,
crit.
that's a crit. They're both going to be smites, obviously.
Yep.
Let's see what I have here. I've only used a first level spell, so I'm going to make them both max smites. Okay?
Yep. Just tell me the max damage down at the end.
Yeah, let me... So that's 18 damage just from the... That's 18 damage just from the attacks. I'll roll out the damage here real quick. That's 6d8, no, not yet. 6d8 plus 24. That's 24. It's that much smite damage.
51. Beautiful. That's a tremendous amount. On top of what damage you already did, sorry?
Yeah, so it's a total of 69 damage.
Beautiful.
As you see, the slight distraction caused by Dragar would cause Dirge to see an opening, and with every ounce of strength in her body, she would smash the weapon in, and it would just crackle and explode, radiant energy shooting out in every direction as bark just shatters and explodes around her. The paladin kind of breathing very heavily after using almost all of her power on the very first attack.
And as this tremendous blow of radiant and piercing damage falls upon this creature, you literally just like equivalent of the streaks of lightning that's been enveloping the sky, this burst of radiant light just explodes from the point of impact, bursting and ripping away so many layers of these branches that were at this point almost like completely engulfing you guys, and it was just like at any moment it was probably going to surround all of you, and then with all of her strength Dirge just lands this blow and shatters and explodes away a majority of the roots, just taking out a huge chunk of this Winter Splinter. Half of its trunk is now blown away, and a good portion of its roots also wither and fall to the ground dead. The creature obviously has taken quite a bit of damage, but still stands. Gaia, you're now up.
Awesome. Bummer, I should have totally gone here for to get advantage. But nonetheless.
You can still move. You can still move into position to get it.
Alright. That's like I was Jack. I was worried that would cause attack of opportunity, but
As long as you don't leave his reach, you're good.
that's it. Alright. She will totally position over here because yeah, we like having advantage. So that's a 19 for the first attack,
Still a
and then
hit.
the offhand is a crit! I'll take that.
Shit.
Oh, shit. And that first one is also going to get some big blast of radiant. We're going to do a second level spell for 1, 2. Wait, Mary, what the hey are you pressing?
So what's the total damage we got done here, Miss Gaia?
Yep, we got 9 plus another 16, so that's 23 piercing. I was trying to get radiant damage going. 1, 2, 3. There we go for 11. Lightning. Just right through her blades into this tree, adding a few more cracks here and there.
The
Taking
lightning
after
damage.
Jizz.
The lightning damage is maxed as well on a crit, so you'd add those dice maxed.
Okay.
So I just need to know total. And then as the lightning ripples across this creature, the wine catches fire and then lights the base of this creature up into a flame. It lets out a hideous shriek as it's obviously in a tremendous amount of pain. It withers and screeches, and it just echoes across the entire land as you guys are just blowing everything you have into it, breaking away branches and lighting it on fire and stomping out twigs and all kinds of roots that are flying up. You're just swatting them away. So, do we know total damage yet? Dang, 35?
35 of the lightning. Now 60 plus 9. So 25 for was that 25 for piercing?
You do max damage dice, and then roll a damage dice plus your other hit.
So 9, 18. She maxed out on it also. 27 piercing.
27, so a total of 12, 62? Alright, so that is a ridiculous amount of damage you guys just did to it. Gaia,
fire!
as you smash into this creature, lightning streaking across it and lighting it on fire, smashing away and chopping away branches as you do so, describe what it looks like as Winter Splinter sadly goes down.
Just really trying to channel her energies, thinking of Paylor and whatnot, and just really wanting his help and such. And she just feels this overwhelming surge of energy, and just as she's sinking her blades in, just out comes this big bolt of lightning, and just like erupts through this tree, sending little outlines of bright light that add the cracks of the wood and ignite the base on fire, and just suddenly all up in flames. And yeah, woo! Let's find the scene.
And and as soon as this thing explodes, Dirge will just immediately just start swimming around, digging in for that heart.
Yeah, and as soon as it breaks away the tree, it falls in half actually, where its mouth is. The lightning cracks and just shatters it directly in half, and the creature falls, the top half of it falling to the ground with the obvious sound, the enormous tree of centuries being old, that sounds like toppling through a silent forest. As it does so, a green light shines through and falls out as this giant, almost hand-sized gem glowing this pale green. Dirge is able to quickly pick it up, and as Gaia finishes her strike and rips out of her sword, everyone stares upon her, and the Gaia that we all know and love's eyes gleam red, and the nightmare that she sees. Everyone else kind of gets a glint of it momentarily as the lightning streaks across the sky. You see a darkness to her face, a redness to her eyes as she pulls away the sword, and the creature falls to its death. You momentarily see that through a streak of lightning, and then as the lightning fades and lights up once more, Gaia kind of falls, maybe a little bit tired from blowing all the spells that she has and giving it everything she has. Gives out a breath of air, exhaustion, or a sigh of relief, and as the lightning lights up again, that dark image that you all momentarily saw, what Gaia saw in herself, has now faded away, and you just see an exhausted Gaia.
And as soon as that happens, Dirge runs over, hands Dragar the gem, and then she just kind of smiles and lifts Gaia up and hugs her, and she says, "Oh, it seems as if Paylor has not forsaken you. Perhaps these fears are a bit wrong about your god."
Guy just let's this weak laugh like yes, I'm not forsaken.
Dragar's furious. He's absolutely pissed. He's like, Dragar didn't even get one strike off, and he just starts smashing at the tree with his hammer. What the heck? You killed the thing before I even get the chance, and he just starts smashing it. He pockets the gem and just starts smashing the wood of the tree.
And as he says that, Dirge smiles and says, "Oh wait, no, I saw it move. It's right there. It's right there."
And
Smash!
and once Gaia gets a moment to like grasp Dragar's shoulder, she's like, "But this is good news, Dragar. Palo is still here. Palo is with us." And like she is very much just, this is a very good thing.
Palo has
yes!
And actually, Dragar, as you're smashing into this tree, you're hitting it, and you're hitting it with all your might. You notice, though, that you're striking a piece where Gaia's lightning damage kind of struck and burned the chunk of it. And as hard as you hit it, it doesn't give way to your strike. And a piece of it kind of breaks away onto the ground, and you're just determined at this point, and you're swinging everything you got into it, like, damn this tree, I want to smash you, and you can't, no matter how hard you swing. And then you get this realization that it is conveniently almost the perfect size of a shield. And for whatever reason, the lightning damage and the sheer tenacity of this tree seems like a pretty affordable piece of wood, to say the least. It was surviving all of your blows. As hard as you struck, as hard as you landed those strikes, you weren't able to break that piece of wood.
So yeah, Dragar would, after their last hammer smash on this single piece of wood, because he's very happy at this point, he would look down and just kind of smile and be like, Dragar thinks maybe this one needs to stick around, and he would pick it up and he would just start tossing it over and turning it over, and he would kind of look very happy, and he would hold it up to everybody else, and he would kind of tuck it away so that he could lash it and do all the other stuff later.
Guy would look at the shield, and her smile would falter just a little, and she'd just be like, "If it give you bad dreams or visions, I'd say get rid of it. But if you are happy with it, may it serve you well."
Yeah, and it looks like it could easily be fashioned into a shield. And although it's like obviously dark and black, the lightning kind of fire damage has burned like this almost shine or shimmer into it. It looks like a glossy black finished shield with kind of imperfections that are rooted up into the base of what you can reason fashioning into a shield. And although it is just a thing of nature, it does, with the kind of burnt shimmer, still look pretty impressive nonetheless. And with a little bit of work, you could easily fashion that into a naturally wooden shield. For whatever reason, is pretty what's the word I'm looking for? Reliable. Or durable. With that, you all kind of fall down. Dirge giving it everything that you had. Gaia doing similar, and everyone just seeing the ravens be knocked down. You all kind of take a moment to breathe a sigh of relief, as Winter Splinter has seemingly been destroyed in relatively quick work. Ishmark sits to the ground and he laughs and he says, That wasn't so bad, now was it?" And he just kind of tries to laugh awkwardly.
When Love's on your side, it's a lot easier.
And we'll end it there, as Dirge has this gem, this seed of life, this hand-sized emerald that's glowing kind of faintly green and almost like pulsating in her hand. She smiles, and that's where we'll end it. So thanks for anyone that was checking us out. Thanks for playing, everybody, and I'll talk to you after we end the broadcast.